That can
I'm here,
start.
and there's nothing that you can do to stop the fact that I'm here.
It's true. It's here. I'm here. Everyone's pretty used to it by now. Oh shoot!
I'm
I just
here.
realized. That's okay.
I'm here. Show no fear. Get used to it.
I just realized I forgot to do something, but that's okay. That's okay.
This is why some people pay people to remember things for them.
We're currently
I can't afford to pay people, but this is why some people do.
doing the podcast. We're
Oh,
talking movie news
I am
and
Jordan.
bad sequels.
This is why some people pay people to remember things for them. Okay, you can hear me. I can't afford to pay people, but this is why some people. Shut up, past Jordan.
Podcast.
Oh,
Movie news.
you're quiet. I am Jordan.
Bad
This is why some people pay people to remember. We're echoing now, so I have to turn my sound off. But I can hear me, but like you didn't really talk in the clip, and we're just sort of muttering to yourself. But I could hear you muttering, but it
Fair
seemed quiet.
enough. Bad sequels. Sequels. Movie talk.
We're echoing now, so I. Yeah, no, it's an endless echo, but I'm going to assume it's fine.
Film took. We're going to post that. We're going to go to YouTube.
It's time to talk about what could be perceived as bad sequels.
And which some of them are. Bad sequels.
Some of them are.
That is.
Not all of them are, though. I
Joker
argue
2.
that not all of these are created equal.
Spoiler alert for the end of the show, but Joker 2 was truly doing a poo, Jordan. He was doing a big old poo.
And this is the YouTube preamble where Justin is looking down and we see his forehead. Hello, Justin's forehead.
We're posting to all of the appropriate social medias. We're live now.
That's fair.
I've discovered that the metrics are better when we share it while it's live as opposed to just sharing the profile.
Yeah, that makes sense. I should see if I can like this. Like.
Gotta get on that.
How do I reopen the chat? There we go. So that I can engage with any disrupting influences.
We all know who that might be.
No!
Hey, don't joke. That disruptive influence is supposed to be here next week.
Yeah, but next week we're talking about Batman, and that's a thing that is totally acceptable to have divergences and side topics.
That is true. Okay, we've now shared the show. I gotta open up one more thing though.
Currently, we're just looking at Discord.
We need to open that. I need to open not that, but
it's totally acceptable to have divergences and side topics.
That is true.
Yeah, you still seem quieter than me for some reason, but
I mean, I'm usually quieter than you.
You mean on the podcast, of course.
It's because I think you've got your gain turned up way higher than me.
Well, I turned it way down.
Dang it.
It's pretty much like right at the bottom.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's start the show. This YouTube. The one thing about a longer YouTube preamble is it makes it much easier for me to cut it out for the Spotify listeners.
That's fair.
Okay. Go away, Discord shit. Go away. Come on.
Okay, I will.
Go away. There we go. No one wants to see all the phone dialy things. Anyway. In 3. Wait. Just check. I'm not paranoid about Discord. Okay, now we're on Discord. It's all good. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. This podcast is brought to you by the Arete Media Pantheon. please head to artemedia.org to see plenty of podcasts from our great friends. And if you want to start your own podcast, they can help you and provide you with all the tools and resources to do so there. So please head to artemedia.org. That's ARETE media.org. On with the show, Jordan?
On with the show. This is it.
Oh my gosh. Flawless intro. I didn't hit the timer. I've discovered if I don't hit the timer correctly, it like if I miss it, it doesn't start it. But it's okay. I caught it this time. So we're like 20, 30 seconds off on our time. But it's fine.
That's accepted. That's within acceptable parameters.
Acceptable parameters. Welcome to the Spurr of the One podcast, everybody. I am your host, as always. I am Justin Spurr. I am joined by my co-host. It's incomparable Jordan, everybody. He's amazing.
Hey.
I heard a podcast I listened to. He began one of the more recent episodes by just saying nice things about his co-host. Jordan's just a great guy.
Hey.
There we go. We're gonna sprinkle.
And Justin is
just a piece of shit. Just a right piece of shit.
I would
awful.
Never say that. He is perfectly adequate for your day-to-day need.
I would
requirement.
never say that on the internet where it could be recorded forever. I would never say that in private where no one can hear me say it. I would say that. He says it all the time.
Whoa, Justin! There's no private. Google hears us our conversations all the time. It's between me, you, and Google.
I thought you were gonna be like, once the cameras go off, we never speak to each other.
I mean, we do have to save most of our conversations on the air.
It's true. We have to save all of the banter for on the air. Anyway, this has already gone off the rails. On the show today, we're gonna start the show by doing a quick comment response times because it turns out that shit talking Jim Carrey is highly controversial. We have some trailers. The Thunderbolts. We have the Red Hulk. We have Captain America 4. New trailers for that. New trailers for Mufasa. There's a Mass Effect TV show. They're apparently making a new Star Wars trilogy. Boo, yuck, and no thank you. Jack Black's in a weird movie where he plays Satan. They're Godzilla -1, the director. He talked with Kevin Feige about doing a Marvel movie, so I think I want to talk about what kind of Marvel movie we'll let the Godzilla -1 guy make. And then later on, we're gonna look at some sequels. We're gonna discuss some sequels, and we will be asking the question: is this a bad sequel? But that's later in the show. Let's start off with, let's just do our rapid. We're gonna talk about some trailers. Oops.
Oh, we're gonna do the trailers.
Oh right.
Comment.
Well, we gotta do the comments. Right, I forgot about the comments. Okay, so yeah, our ratio to hell Jim Carrey video. For those of you who haven't seen it, please check out What Happened to You, Jim Carrey. You Used to Be Cool, an hour and 45-minute retrospective on Jim Carrey's career and how he became an insufferable douche. And
I would have also accepted a miserable old fuck.
Yeah, a miserable fuck who can't have any fun. And so some of the comments, I'm not gonna read them all specifically, but the general consensus on a lot of them was one of my personal favorites was this video is pretty lame. To which, shut up, you're lame.
Shut up, doo-doo head. You're lame.
Shut up
for your opinion.
Shut up with your one subscriber. No, I'm kidding.
As we complain from our high horse of 79.
Right? We did get one where Kristen was like, he could not stand watching a movie with someone who overanalyzes every little detail. And I mean, my response to that is
kind of the point of the show.
That's kind of the point of the show. And when you're watching a movie, for fun and for private, obviously you don't point out every little stupid thing. That's kind of that's the point of this. It's the bit. It's the bit. It's the whole joke. And then my favorite comments are the ones who clearly didn't watch the video but left a comment anyway. Because it's because I don't blame them. It's an hour and 45 minutes. I don't know that I'd probably watch it in one go.
They just saw the title of Jim Carrey, What Happened to You? You Used to Be Cool, and felt the need to comment.
Right. So one comment was, "Bro, are you talking to yourself? You both are way off. At least he used to be cool." And then my other favorite one was Jim Carrey will always be cool, bro. What? And like,
Ooh,
no,
no, he won.
no.
No.
I saw that clip. I was watching the most greatest example of like how Jim Carrey isn't cool anymore or isn't fun. Really, any of his interviews through the Sonic 2 PR promotional campaign. But like, I saw this clip again like today, and it was this morning, and it was that clip of him telling the story of Tommy Lee Jones saying that he cannot sanction this buffoonery to Norm Macdonald.
I haven't seen that, but the one that where like the point where he lost me was the one where it's him at the fashion show,
Oh yeah, and it's
and
like, dude, what are you even doing here?
What? Why are you here? And he's like, well, I tried to think of like the most useless thing that I could go
Yeah,
to.
it's like, oh wait,
and here I am, and it's like,
wait, it sucked the fun out of everything, Jim Carrey.
Like, why?
Or no, for me it's during that moment. Well, you clearly you know the I cannot sanction this buffoonery. You recognize that quote.
I'm sure I've seen it before.
Yeah, but basically it's him on Norm Macdonald telling this story, and like it's a fun anecdote about how when they were working on Batman Forever, he met him at a restaurant. And like he's the color drained from his face, and he's telling this story. It's really fun, and he's really energetic. And then out of nowhere, he goes like, "Oh, but I'm not real, or it's not actually me." And then Norm Macdonald can recognize he's about to go into the weird shit, and he like redirects him back into this fun story because Jim Carrey tried to suck the fun out of it because that's just what he does now. Like, he's a massive like. He's a massive, like, you couldn't have I doubt you could have a conversation with him because it would just devolve to him just being insufferable. Insufferable is the word I would use.
Mentally unwell is the word that I would use.
He doesn't seem okay. No, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he's no, like, I guarantee you the Sonic 3 promotional campaign will, like, Keanu Reeves and Ben Schwartz, they're all going to be having fun, and there will be Jim Carrey miserable. Unless for some reason in the last however many years since he did the last one, he's, like, changed his tune and become decidedly less obnoxious, he's going to be awful.
I wouldn't be surprised, quite frankly, with the promotion if they just didn't really feature him.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they managed to do that with the Flash, so
in terms of like interviews and stuff like that. Like, yeah,
maybe.
I would if I was them, I would choose to focus more on the Keanu Reeves side than
I certainly would too.
Because by the third one, like the first one, it was a big deal. Jim Carrey signed on to this. Okay, cool. Second one, it's like it's a big deal because he doesn't do sequels, and he came back and he did a sequel. Third one. He's not really the star. He's not really the point. He's not even really the villain in this one.
Not really. No, not as in this trailer anyway. No, not according to this trailer.
So like if I was them, I would choose to focus on Keanu Reeves being there as the villain.
What I would do. But it's like, yeah, man, like it's shit like they're trying to do this fun interview about Sonic 2. And they're trying to ask him these fun questions about, okay, where would you take this character next? Hypothetically, not assuming that he's like, oh no, I'm retired. And the poor interviewer, I mean, everyone's seen that clip, but the poor interviewer doesn't know how to respond to that. Like, he's the kind of, we all know this guy. We all have this guy in your life where you're like, oh, you run into them, they're like a coworker or like a neighbor. We had a neighbor that was like this, where you just, not really wanting to start a conversation, but just being polite. You're like, oh, how are you doing today? And they're like, well, you know, my dog died and my cat died and I'm about to get kicked out of my apartment and, you know, just everything. And you're like, I don't know how to respond to any of that. I was just being polite. He's that kind of guy.
The social expectation of what you should have said here is, oh, I'm okay, or I'm having kind of a down day. Not going to every nitty-ditty detail to a stranger.
Right? Or like in the case of Jim Carrey, if they're trying to do a fun back and forth with you, just be like, I don't know, maybe Metal Sonic, I guess? Like, just like, don't be a weird bummer downer all the time.
Fake it? Like, you're an actor.
Yeah.
Fake it?
Like, he's always on, like, the cusp of wanting to say that weird pseudo-intellectual nothingness. Like, you know what? In fact, I'm just gonna, no, I'm not gonna. It's gonna be too much work. I was gonna pull up quotes from that. If you really just want to see how insufferable, we talk about it in the video, just to wrap up and to move on to the news. But we talk about it in the video, about how if you just want to see how utterly insufferable Jim Carrey has become, watch Jim and Andy: The Great Beyond. And you don't even have to watch all of it. Just watch that last little chunk of his talking head interview he does. Awful. He's just an awful, obnoxious, like, yeah, like nobody likes people like I've never met a person other than people like that who like people like that. That's it. That's all. Let's move into the news. Also, wait, stop. Watch the video before you comment next time. Go on. So let's do a round robin of I don't know that that's the right word. Let's just do these movie trailers real quick because I don't have a ton to say about all of them really. So let's start with we'll do real quick Captain America 4, Brave New World. They're really scared. They're really scared.
I'm so indifferent about that one, and quite frankly, I think my only reaction when I see that trailer is I really don't care about the Captain America stuff. I want to see a Red Hulk versus Hulk movie.
I think we're gonna see Hulk versus Red Hulk in that movie because, again, we don't deal in rumors on the Spur of the Moment podcast, but the rumor go with that Mark Ruffalo's in that movie.
Okay, well, I mean, at that point, then that I like that because I want to see those two characters fight. But in terms of like, if I was going to watch, it then feels like you don't have faith in your main what is supposed to be your main character.
Because like none of their movies have been exclusively like for example like all of this like at least 2 of the Spider-Man movies are an Iron Man movie. I don't
know that I agree with that.
You've got the Captain America movie, which is basically just an Avengers movie. So like it's not Captain America 3 so much as it is Avengers 2.5. Like so like the intermingling of like 2 conflicts and characters. Here's what I will say. This trailer is clearly being deceptive. It's very my what's the word I'm looking for? Observation of it is that they're clearly very scared that Anthony Mackie is not capable of selling this movie, or at the very least,
that's what I'm saying.
At the very least, this version of Captain America isn't, because if this trailer had come out, I hate to say this, one of two scenarios. If this trailer had come out like 5 years ago and Marvel wasn't in this state of people hating on them for every reason, because I think this looks like any other Marvel movie, which is to say, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like at the very least, I'm sure it will be fine.
I'm just disinterested.
It's gonna be one of those things where I guarantee you we'll walk out of it being whelmed, like kind of like kind of like the Captain Marvel 2, where it's just like it's not a bad movie, it's just not remarkable.
It's to me it screams much in the same way as the Captain Marvel 2 did. It screams, don't watch this in theater, just watch this on stream.
Wait till it hits Disney Plus. Yeah, that's what it's given me. Yeah. But like they're clearly, because sorry, my point was 5 years ago, even 5 years ago, they would have hid Red Hulk. You would have never seen Red Hulk in that trailer.
I don't know that I agree with that, because I don't think that the Captain Falcon was ever a popular character.
No, but Captain Marvel had enough power that, and he's not Captain Falcon, he's Captain America. But Marvel had enough power that
no, Justin, he's Captain Falcon. He has Falcon wings, and he's got the Captain America. I'm amalgamating the 2 names. He's Captain Falcon. Good
point. I've been calling him Captain Falcon for so long as a joke. That didn't even click to me that you were actually combining them. I've just literally called him Captain Falcon because that was a reference to Captain Falcon from Smash Brothers. It wasn't like
that's where the joke comes from.
But you're right. It is kind of an amalgamation of that's fair. No, I think that Marvel had enough power that they could have got away with hiding him. Like I don't think they needed. Like clearly they think that Red Hulk is. I don't even think Red Hulk is the main. I'm guessing that final bit where he's fighting Red Hulk is very much the ending of the movie. Like that, like clearly the big twist of the thing is that he's a Hulk. I'm guessing. I don't think that's a midway point of the movie, and we're gonna find out he's the Red Hulk. I think he doesn't know that he's Red Hulk. I think it's gonna be the twist. Because he looks in the trailer. He looks surprised. He looks surprised to be changing.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like I said, quite frankly, I'm really not that interested in
Well,
this
without the
one.
mystery, the thing about Red Hulk is without the mystery of who Red Hulk is, you kind of completely take away everything that makes Red Hulk interesting. Because the whole thing with Red Hulk is it's supposed to represent the fact that what's his face is just a full blown hypocrite. Like it doesn't matter
That's
that.
fair.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He doesn't hate the Hulk. Like he just hates him becoming a Hulk is supposed to be like this big like hypocritical moment for him that just isn't gonna come
He hates
across with a third
Banner,
version
Banner,
of
and not the Hulk.
right. Like it's gonna be a third version of yeah. I don't know. These trailers aren't doing anything for me, and Red Hulk isn't enough. It's a movie that
No,
clearly. Well, here's my thing. It's a movie that clearly wants you to be interested in the fact that it's like because this trailer is very much like a spy thriller trailer. Like they really want you to lean into the fact that the Winter Soldier was like a spy thriller, but then they're like clearly concerned that that's not going to sell. So they need to slap the Red Hulk in there to make people. That's what this is. It feels scared. It feels like it. Yeah, it feels like it's reacting.
I
Now
mean,
that
quite
having been
frankly,
said,
I do believe that if it didn't have Red Hulk in there, I don't think it would work. I don't think it would do well. I don't think
no, I don't either.
like whether or not the movie itself would be a functional movie is not what I mean, but I mean like in the eyes of the
Oh
public,
no, it wouldn't do
I
well. It
don't
absolutely would not.
it
I mean,
wouldn't do
it's not
well.
going to do well anyway, but it wouldn't do no because it doesn't need to exist. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it
No.
doesn't need to exist. There's no reason for it. His character arc ended perfectly in his show. Say with Bucky, their character arcs ended perfectly in their show. They don't need he doesn't need his own little movie. This trailer just kind of looks like he's doing the same exact arc over again because nobody actually watched the show, so they need him to do this arc over again. No, much like Thor, I don't think any of these guys should get their own movie again. I think they should show up in Avengers movies and that's it. Because there's no need
Right?
for or as secondary characters in someone else's movie because their story's done. Like there's nowhere else for him to
There's
go
nothing really
other than
else
like
to
giving
do.
up other than like maybe one movie where he gives up being Captain America, but that's too soon for that in my opinion.
I mean, yeah. The thing is that like you need to have him be in like 2 or 3 Avengers movie, and then you do the Captain Falcon movie where it's his retiring
Yeah,
after he's been it for a while.
yeah.
That's when you do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there who are gonna completely disagree with that. But that having been said, the Thunderbolts trailer, I'm actually kind of excited for that. That one looks really fun. I really like how those characters are interacting together. They work surprisingly well together. I particularly like. It's making me like what's his face. John Walker.
Red.
That
Oh,
I
John
I
Walker.
really like how he interacts with the rest of them. Like with
Yeah.
Yelena. That really looks like to be Yelena's movie, and I really like Yelena. I think he's funny. I've never disliked her in anything.
I see. I'm not disinterested in that one, but I'm also not interested. I'm very whelmed for it. Like
I am interested.
it looks fun. It's another. I guess I should say it's another streaming one for me.
I'd watch
It
that one in
looks
theaters.
fun,
I'd give it a
but
chance.
I don't think I would deal with the public to go and watch it in theaters.
It does need to do something. I would consider it, but it really needs to do something in another trailer. I need to see some better action sequences. There's just nothing. I don't see a need for them
Yeah.
to all work together. There's nothing. I know that Bob is the Centurion, and he's basically Superman. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what this movie is about. It's about them getting him.
Got it.
Or fighting him. I
Yeah,
guess.
I don't know. I need there to be like a reason for why they're together, like
Yeah.
a big reason.
A
Like
big
I like
thing.
I like the dynamic between them, but I just don't know that for me that it sustains an entire
I
movie.
need them.
It kind of just feels like it's enough to sustain the one scene that we saw in a trailer.
I need them to differentiate themselves from the Avengers because otherwise I'm like half of these people were technically in the Avengers. Like what's and also there's just that most of them are just Captain America. They all just have Captain
Yeah,
America powers. So it's like what are we doing that's making this different? Not much. That having been said though,
that's
it
what I'd
did
say.
it did make me go, oh. So that's what that what if is. The what if where it's the Red Guardian and Bucky, and they're in that car. As soon as they shoved the car in this trailer, I was like, oh, that's what that what if is a what if for. It's a what if for this movie.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, probably. That's for
Oh,
the
that
next
makes
season.
sense. Yeah, because I was like, otherwise I was like, what is this? What is this a what if of? These characters have never interacted.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. But yeah, no, for me, it at this point in time, it's a streaming watch.
I mean, most of these are. The Marvel one, the Marvel stuff now is just there's just like to be fair, I haven't watched a Marvel movie in theater since really Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's because that one was special. But like prior to that, no, they're just not doing any. They go to theaters, they go to streaming too fast, and there's nothing in them that's interesting enough to me. That like I still haven't watched Agatha all along. I still have to watch that.
No, me neither. I need to watch that one.
And then I think well, I know we'll do two more. So the new Mufasa Lion King trailer.
Yeah, still don't like it.
Still severely underwhelmed. I will say they do look substantially more articulate and emotive than they were the last time.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. It completely contradicts not even just the original movie, but like the 2019 one. It completely contradicts that. None of it really makes any sense. It does really just kind of look like it's Lion King Game of Thrones. Because it looks like
so like there's like what dozens of lions now, and they're all vying for control of the kingdom, and that's why Mufasa is able to be king.
Basically, it sounds like Scar was first in line for his pride or his kingdom, and the Lion King itself is sort of like the Iron Throne, and it's about uniting the 7 Lion Kingdoms. It's Game of Thrones. It's just Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I don't know if it's 7 Lion Kingdoms. I made that last bit up, but it's literally like the last trailer made it look like the Lion King is a title, and that Mufasa is the Lion King, so he's the main king, and it's basically uniting a bunch of like desperate monarchies. Like this is dumb.
Which would be fine if in the original you had like several different clans of lions that show up, but you don't. You have his clan, and there's no reference to that, and this is stupid.
This is dumb. I mean, not even to mention the fact that like, it's a thing for this one. You're really gonna have to explain how Taka goes from hating him to becoming Scar. Like he just seems really unwilling. He doesn't seem like he's gonna hit the point where he's willing to just full blown do a murder. I don't know. I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, man.
Just not buying it. That's not even mentioning I hated the first one. And then finally for trailers, I didn't send you this one because I figured it'd be more fun to describe it to you. But unless you already saw it, it's a movie called Dear Santa. And
I think I've heard of this one.
And it's when a young boy mails a Christmas wish list to Santa with one crucial spelling error, a devilish Jack Black arrives to wreak havoc on the holidays as Satan. And it actually looks kind of fun. Oh. It's exactly the kind of movie you think it's gonna be.
That's not the one that I'm thinking of. The one that I was thinking you were going to talk about is I saw something about one where Santa gets kidnapped.
Oh, that we've seen the trailer for that one. That's the one where it's The Rock and it's
yeah.
It's Chris Evans. I mean, beyond the fact that it's coming out and it's apparently not very good, I don't really have much else to say about it.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'll be
beyond the fact
that
it exists. Let's do this Godzilla -1. So yeah, apparently Godzilla -1 director has had a meeting with Marvel's Kevin Feige. And here's my question, Jordan. The guy who made Godzilla -1, you can give him any Marvel thing, past or present, but you have to do one that hasn't been done, and you can do one that has been done.
There's a lot of characters. Is there a character in Marvel, help me out here, which is more like a monster?
I'm sure. I'm totally blanking right now.
Like how in DC there's
Man-Thing?
Croc
Man-Thing?
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 Man-Thing, maybe. That could be interesting.
I'm trying to think of someone who's big. Like something that's big. So I'm like Ant-Man. My first thing is like Ant-Man.
If you want to go big, no, he's already done.
That's what I'm saying. You can do what? Yeah, you get one that can be done, and you get one that's already been done. You can do one that hasn't been done.
Okay, well, for my haven't been done, I would say Moon Knight.
Interesting.
for have been
I
done.
mean, Moon Knight's been done.
Has it?
Yeah, there's a Moon
In
Knight
the
TV.
in the MCU?
I mean, there's a TV show with Oscar Isaac.
Is there?
Yeah, you watched it.
Have I seen that one?
Yes, you have.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would do for have not okay for have seen. I'd like to see him do Spider-Man.
Oh, that'd be kind of fun.
Um,
What's like it?
and
Everyone's Spider-Man.
and I would do it if I so I
Okay,
would
just give
want
him an
to
Avengers movie.
I would want to do it where it's Spider-Man, but it's Spider-Man and he's already established and he's going through the man spider part and
Oh, that'd
make
be
it
kind of
like
fun.
horror, make it a horror kind of movie.
That'd be kind of fun.
Um, and then for have not for character that hasn't been done, um, I mean he hasn't been done yet, so I'm gonna say it. Doctor Doom movie, not a Fantastic Four movie, a straight Doctor Doom movie.
I'll accept it. Those are all perfectly acceptable answers. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm just like
What about you?
Avengers movie. Do an Avengers movie, and then maybe Iron Man. Iron
No,
Man.
but for one that for the character that hasn't been done.
Oh, an Avengers movie. I'll give him an Avengers
No,
movie.
Avengers has been done.
I mean, yeah, but they okay,
The
fine.
Avengers has been done.
I mean, oh yeah, I would give him an Avengers movie. I feel like Avengers can count because technically there's still more coming
No,
out.
Avengers has been done. You could say Young Avengers.
Yeah, sure, why not? Young Avengers.
Okay.
I would let him do the Secret Wars. I mean, I know that the Russo brothers are doing those, but I will let them do the Secret Wars. Do Secret Wars. Apparently, Jordan.
Now the follow up question: who do you think he is being given?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Knowing what he's done and his particular talents.
I'm guessing something involving. Surely there's a Marvel character that's like a big thing, a big robot, a big guy.
Oh! I thought of one. Fing Fang Fu. He's a dinosaur, or he's a dragon.
Yeah, true.
I believe that's
Let him do Shang-Chi and have him fight Fing Fang Foom. There we go. Done.
Yeah.
Done. Or maybe no, maybe I don't know. It's like third Guardian or new Guardians movies, but they're serious this time. Apparently, Jordan, they found a writer, and they're officially making a Mass Effect TV show. To wit, my question is, why? I don't understand that one.
My question, it wouldn't even necessarily be why. My question would be why now? If you were gonna do
that
it,
too.
Why wouldn't you have done it? It's just another example, and this is gonna.
I mean, you know how Hollywood works. Things take forever.
Why not do it when it's relevant?
Probably because they couldn't find people who wanted to make it, I guess. Or well, no, the honest truth is because video shows based on video games are hot right now. That's the honest answer. But my thing with Mass Effect in particular is like
it's about choice.
Yeah, without the gameplay RPG elements and like making binary choices, it kind of just becomes a generic science fiction show. Like I suppose like there's some designs in terms of characters and stuff that set it apart. I guess like the Krogan and all that, but yeah, for them, I mean, I guess like Sarah and all those guys, I guess they're reasonably like iconic looking, but in terms of storytelling, I just don't see the point.
Well, I mean, so like, what is it going to be based on the first game, on the trilogy? Like, how many episodes is it going to be? I have a lot of questions.
I presume it'll be 8. I mean, it's going to Amazon Prime, so I presume probably the first season and probably 6 to 8 episodes long, each an hour long. If I had to guess,
I don't know. I don't see the point. But okay.
They announced Jordan. Ew. They announced that they're making a new trilogy of Star Wars movies, and the guy.
Why?
Money.
Is it? So, wait. Is it like a sequel, a prequel? Is it like 10,000 years before, and we're doing the Old Republic? Is it the High Republic?
We do not know. They initially thought it was going to continue the Skywalker saga, but then they denied that. I saw a rumor that it was going to be about Rey. They denied that. All we know is that it's going to be written by Simon Kinberg, which
because like
no.
if it's here's the I don't know who that is, but here's the thing. If it's still in the Skywalker saga, boo, hiss, gross. No more of that.
They
If it's like in the old Republic or the High Republic and we get to do something different,
he did
okay.
Simon Kinberg did the bad X-Men movies. He wrote the bad X-Men movies. Yeah, exactly. Like he wrote like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and all those guys.
So this is gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad. Yeah, there's no way it's not gonna be bad. Like he's not. I've never seen anything of his I liked.
To be fair,
to
him, which is ironic, but to be fair to him, I haven't seen a Star Wars thing that that's not a video game. Video games have been hitting it strong in my opinion, but in terms of movies and shows, I haven't seen anything that's really made me go like, wow.
I mean, that's where a thousand angry Star Wars fans will all come into our comment section and be like, but Andor, don't give a fuck about Andor.
Honestly, the more interesting thing for me was the Acolyte, and that got canceled before it was able to really.
Yeah.
Before that got canceled, before it was really able to spread its wings and figure out what it wanted to be.
That and that Lego brick by brick, which I still have to watch. That like when
I enjoyed that.
Star Wars is attempting to be creative. That's when it's at its strongest, which it's not really. It just wants to apparently they finished filming that Grogu Mandalorian movie that's coming out, and I'm like,
they're making a Grogu Mandalorian movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big.
Why?
It's going to be a big finale to all of the Dave Filoni stuff. It's going to be his.
Okay.
Supposedly it's going to wrap up like everything: Rebels, Clone Wars, the Bad Batch. Sure. It's going to all wrap the Mandalorian. It's going to all wrap up his shit. That's what, and it's directed by Jon Favreau.
Okay. I mean, okay.
No, I should say, you know what I am interested for? And apparently there was a new trailer that came out that I didn't put in my stories, but Skeleton Crew. That looks fun. I will watch that.
Which one was that?
That was The Goonies, but it's Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. The one that I thought looked totally weird.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will still watch it. So, Jordan, they're making Hogwarts Legacy 2. And
I heard that, and it sounds dumb.
And, well, here's my thing. Remember how we were like, they clearly just want this main character to be Harry Potter? So the next game is going to incorporate storylines from the HBO series, which doesn't really make any sense with how that movie that game, unless they're going to do like a huge jump forward and it's just going to be the first game.
Yeah, that's, I mean, from what I'm understanding and what it comes across, this is Hogwarts Legacy 2 in name only. It's really just going to be another Harry Potter game.
Yeah, it's just going to be another. They're going to take all of
It's going to be another Harry Potter game, but instead of having the likeness of Daniel Radcliffe and all the guys from the original stuff, it's going to be the ones from the HBO show.
I mean, I wouldn't be against... look, we said when we played that first one that this would be better if it was just an adaptation of Harry Potter. Well, then we said it would be better if it was a number of things, but I'm not, like, against a really long... it's Bully, but you're Harry Potter, and you're going to classes, but that now means, like, you're not going to... If they are just doing storylines from the original movies and books, you're now not going to be able to get to do all the killing curses, which is half of what makes that game fun. And also just from a gameplay standpoint, they were the best spells. They were the strongest spells.
The thing is to me, it's
now they have to do all the lame spells that Harry Potter. Wait, Harry Potter knows like 3 spells. Is it's going to be like 50 hours of just doing Expelliarmus?
Like, why? There's already like 7 Harry Potter games that are just Harry Potter. Why not? Like, okay, you don't want to continue the storyline of the character from the first one. Make it so it's like 10 years later and you're a different character.
I mean, yeah. Or, I mean, hey, if you do it where it's like, I'm friend of Harry Potter and we go through you're still a custom character, but you're friends with the original cast. That'd be kind of fun. That I'd be interested in. Or
not even that you're friends, but like you exist at the school at the same time.
You can be friends.
And you can be friends in their characters, or you can be friends with Draco Malfoy, or you
because that will make
because like Cho Chang or whatever.
Well, I mean that's what it felt like the first game wanted to do, but was too chicken shit to commit to it. Because like half of the teachers and characters are just approximations of characters from the original story. It's like, we got the Weasley who's just McGonagall. She's just McGonagall.
Yeah, but then if you're gonna do that, like, okay, They're not going to do that. They're going to make it so you're just playing as Harry Potter. But let's pretend that they're creative and fun and make it so that you're a custom character who plays alongside these characters. You still get to choose your house, and depending on what house you be in, it changes which of the Harry Potter cast you get to be friends with. Let's assume that they're creative enough to think to do that. They're not,
They're
but let's
not.
pretend that they are. Then at that point you can still have all the stuff that made the first one fun. You can still have them
Yeah,
learn the evil curses. You
absolutely.
can and but if they're gonna do that, then to me, I don't want it to just be the first book. I
No.
want it to be where it's like we go through the thing, we go through maybe like the first 3 books is this game, or like first 4 or something. Like I want to go through a good chunk of the story.
I mean, look, okay, I'm of two opinions, right? On the one hand, I would absolutely love a game where you play as Harry Potter and you do all the boring, like go to class, day to day shit that those books basically are. I think that would be funny, and you know me, I'm a massive troll. But also another dream version of that game that would be very fun is if it's like, yeah, you play a custom character and you participate in the events of the original story or movies, books, whatever, and depending on how your character does stuff, it changes the story. So like
Oh, that would be
you could
that would
choose
be so
to
cool.
team up with Malfoy and help him kill Dumbledore, or like you could choose to help Harry solve it earlier and see how that's like that to me as a really like I think Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. I know this is going to seem unrelated. That game is at its most interesting when it's doing the alternate timeline shit. It's not interesting or fun when I'm just doing the same shit over again. Like
Yeah,
I've already done the Saiyan saga where I fight
it's
Raditz
been
and Goku
done.
gets killed. It's way more fun to do the timeline where he wins. Like
Yeah, in Sparking Zero, when you get to do all the various different timelines.
that game should have really focused more on that because it's way more, and then like have the other modes where you do the regular shit, you know what I mean? Like to me that alternate timelines, and that's way more interesting a concept to explore, than just, yeah, it's a Harry Potter game and I play as Harry Potter again, but it's in the same engine as the first one. Because yeah, okay, a Harry Potter game in the engine, the Hogwarts Legacy engine, theoretically is interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, and so to tag on to it, if we had our version where you get to be the custom character, again, I want to start in year 1 with the Philosopher's Stone. I want us to go to Diagon Alley. I want us to get our wand, to get our stuff. Like I want that part of the
Yeah.
experience
Oh yeah, for
too.
sure.
I don't want to just come in as a year 5 who has everything.
God, yeah, the worst thing that first game did was start. Why did they start you off as a year 5?
Because you had to be the special guy who could have all the high level spells.
It's what just
They
feels
didn't
like.
want to.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it feels like, yeah, just so that way. Otherwise, it would feel weird if they gave an 11-year-old Avada Kedavra. That's kind of what it comes across
Yeah,
like.
and they clearly didn't want to have you go through more than 1 year in that game. You were going to be there for just 1 year, so like they
Yeah,
had to have you be older.
yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing about the Harry Potter books is most of those books are like nothing happens for like pages and pages at a time, and it's just like day to day life. Like, then that's what I
Yeah.
wanted that game to be. I mean, I knew it was never gonna be that, but to me, that's, yeah, Bully. They promised us Bully, but with Harry Potter, and we got whatever that game was, an okay game that you're not allowed to say is you're not allowed to have an opinion on, because if you do, one person, if you're like, it's not very good mechanically, it's probably the best version of Harry Potter in a video game you're ever gonna get, but is otherwise a middling experience.
It
Um,
has potential for room for growth, is what I would say. It has
yeah,
potential, and it could be something really really good. And the thing is the computer version of it, you get that experience because people have modded it
yeah.
and made it into the game it should have been.
Yeah, but that was the
Um,
thing with that one when it came out. Like, you weren't allowed to have an opinion on it, because if you said it was bad, people would get mad at you because you're like, oh, and then if you said it was good, people got mad at you. It is a middling game. It is all right. It is okay. It is. I had way more specific complaints about it the first time I played it, but I just remember being like, it's not very good. Like, it's
it's
not very
fine.
good. It's fine. It's a
It's
fine.
fine.
Like, there's
Yeah,
elements to it that are
for the
fun. There's elements to it that are not fun.
For the second one, I definitely want improvements. I want it to be better. I want it to be stronger, and ideally, I want our version, where you get to be a side character beside the main
Like for
character.
me, the most
I I
frustrating
don't
bit.
I don't I don't want to just be Harry Potter.
Especially because I had been playing Bully, right? And Bully has these classroom mini games that you do for each class. And it's like, yeah, that you have to do 8 of them and you unlock different skills, right? Whereas Hogwarts Legacy is like you do the classes once.
Yeah,
And then it's
And then
otherwise just regular Harry Potter. You're fighting boring goblins, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just it felt like it wanted to be a number of things. But anyway, hopefully that second game will be better. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are apparently, and the director of Deadpool, they're all teaming up again to do another movie that's not Marvel.
Oh.
And Ryan Reynolds is writing it. And I think they should do a musical.
Yeah, I think that's been done with Hugh Jackman.
Yes, exactly. I think I really like Spirited. I
think you should have. I think it should be a musical, and every time Hugh Jackman goes to start singing, he gets interrupted until like the very end of the movie, and then it cuts to black, and never have him sing the entire time.
I mean, yes, obviously, I think that's funny, but yes, obviously, Jordan, that's objectively hilarious. But no, I want them to do a musical where where they play themselves, and it's about them trying to make a movie.
I mean, that would be awesome as well.
Like it's Hugh Jackman and it's Ryan Reynolds, and they play themselves, and it's a musical. It's a meta musical about trying to get a movie made in Hollywood, where they're trying to get a movie made. I think that would be really funny.
And the entire time, Hugh Jackman is like, "Come on, you can sing really well." And Ryan Reynolds, the entire movie is just like, "No, I can't sing." And then like he belts it out, and he gets to do an amazing song.
I mean, that would be so great. And then you could have all sorts of like cameos from different like musical theater, Broadway people, and like singers. I think it would be really fun. But after Spirited, I was like, I want Ryan Reynolds to do more musicals. Like, genuinely, I want him to do more musicals. Like, that, and I just always believe that the movie musical needs to be, like, there needs to be more musicals that perhaps aren't 2 hours and 40 minutes. Sorry, Haley. Oh, God, it's just so long. But yeah, I want to do, and then apparently they're trying to sell, speaking of musicals, really? Fascinating. So apparently, Bob Zemeckis wants to do the Back to the Future musical as a movie.
Really?
That surprises me.
There's a musical for Back to the Future.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Interesting.
We've talked about it multiple times. More than once.
I don't think we have.
We talked about it during the Gnarly Week, because the guy who plays Doc Brown is in the Hostel movie, second Hostel movie, and I said he plays Doc Brown.
Anyways, a movie version, eh?
Yeah, they want to make a movie version.
Well, I mean, so the question is okay, so they make this. Do you think, depending on when it makes and how people's lives continue to go, do you think that Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox show up as like in a cameo?
Absolutely,
capacity?
Yeah. According to this article, they turned him down, but that's disappointing, because I would absolutely watch that. That'd be fun. I'm surprised Bob Gale is okay with it, because obviously you'll know the day that Bob Gale dies, because the day after Bob Gale dies, they'll announce Back to the Future 4.
Or a remake.
Or remake. You'll be like, oh, they announced about. Like, I'll be sitting here on this show, and I'll be like, they finally announced Back to the Future 4, and you'll be like,
why?
No.
Bad.
The other thing. You'll be like,
oh, he finally died, did he?
There we go. Bob Gale died. That's how you'll know. Although I would be
no. But Justin, this will be way in the future, and I'll have forgotten his name again.
Oh, that is true.
So I'll just. Be
I don't know.
Oh, he died.
I'm okay about a remake if it's the musical. That's the only time I'm ever okay with, like, if you want to remake anything, you're allowed to remake it as long as it's a musical. It's the one rule.
I don't know.
You can remake anything you want on the planet, but it has to be a musical. It doesn't matter if it like makes it tonally weird or makes it not work.
I can see it now. The Dark Knight, the musical.
I'm just saying, Batman the musical. I'm just saying.
No, not Batman. Specifically,
the
movie, the Dark Knight, the musical.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's somewhere, someone's developing that. But that's it.
That's a very poor choice of words.
That's the news, which went on for Jordan 45 minutes. But that's the news. Jordan, I'm milking the cows. I'm milking the cows. YMCA. He's milking the cows, and it's why. Okay, that's enough of that. Jordan, today's episode, I never say the sponsor at the top of the show because I always forget. But today's episode is sponsored by Trophy Smack.
I just always assumed it was because you made it up in the moment and decided which one on a whim, depending on the day.
No, I do actually think it out beforehand because it goes in the description of the episode. So there's a level, yeah. But today's episode is brought to you by Joe. Let me ask you this question. Let's say that you made a bad sequel to a movie and you wanted to be like, boo, you made it a bad sequel and you wanted to give them something to show them that they did a bad job. What could you get them?
TrophySmack.com. You can get a trophy, you can get a belt, you can get rings. There are custom engraving, custom toppers. There are stuff for losers, wall art.
You could say you made a bad sequel by giving them a real loser's trophy.
Like you could probably get them to make a trophy which has like some sort of camera on top and some sort of custom inscription which said, "You made a bad movie. It's okay."
It's okay. You made a bad movie. And apparently
you could probably do that.
They have recently
using our link in the description below.
I've been told that recently they've done a new set of superhero rings. So if you've always been like, I want a Green Lantern ring. I want a Green Lantern ring and the ability to be like in Blackest Day, in Darkest Night, no evil shall escape my sight. For those who worship evil's might, beware my power. Green Lantern's light. And you can have a Green Lantern ring while you say that. It's pretty sweet. But Jordan, where is that again? Where can they go?
That is TrophySmack.com using our link in the description below.
And I forgot to mention that you can also have your own trophy like we do. Look at the quality. Look at how shiny that is. You know, you have it has a little thing on the back to hook it up. It looks very cool. It will look cool on your wall as it would look cool on my wall. TrophySmack.com. Thank you as always for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate you. Go click on our link. Let them know that we sent you. Yay. So today's episode, we took a look at some sequels. And we asked the question, is this a bad sequel? And some of them are.
Full stop.
Were you expecting me to say more?
Me? No, because I know how these things go. But
some of them are.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. And the important thing is that the friends we made along the way.
The friends we made along the way and what we will be. Jordan, spoiler alert for later on. I watched Jaws the Revenge, and Jordan's going to be playing a game where he has to guess the plot of Jaws the Revenge, because I think it'll be funny. Let's start with rapid fire, though.
Okay, I watched a few direct-to-sequel Disney movies. One of them is, the first one is Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time.
We're doing time travel now.
Which, I have to say, being what it is, like being a Disney sequel of a property that's beloved and is a classic, it's not bad.
You're not the first one I've heard say that. I've heard of those, it's probably the least bad.
It's of the options I could have chosen, I have to admit, of the direct sequel Disney ones that I could have chosen, I very intentionally tried to not choose ones that were really, really bad.
We'll do those one day.
I just couldn't, man. Like
we'll bring our good friend Haley back on, and we'll talk about the Disney Channel, about those movies,
Disney sequels,
and the Disney Channel original movies as well. Those deserve their own episode.
Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, basically, the evil stepmother and stepsisters get the fairy godmother's magic wand and go back in time and stop Cinderella from putting on the slipper and having her happy ending. And it's all the consequences that fall out from that.
Yeah, but isn't this the one where you find out that like one of the sisters isn't actually that bad?
Yeah, Anastasia.
Yeah.
she's actually, and it's actually kind of sweet because at the end of it, spoiler alert, her and Cinderella kind of have this like recompense moment which they don't get in the original, where it's like, they're actually like on good terms and
Well,
hugging, and
what's
it's
interesting
really
about
sweet.
this one is this notion that Anastasia is the good one did bleed over into other Disney stuff. So like I think in Once Upon a Time she's a character, and yeah, she's got this thing where she like turns against the evil stepmother or something.
Yeah, it's
And
basically that's what happens in this.
then there's another thing where that character is like, oh, she's actually good. She's nuanced and isn't a cartoon character.
Um, that being said, the stepmother is like super evil in this. Like super, like arguably, I would say more evil than she is in the original movie.
Well, that's my thing
Um,
with these versions of these characters, where it's like they get escalated to a point of being ridiculous. Where it's like she was just kind of a bitch in the original. That was kind of just the point. She's just kind of mean.
a power hungry, mean, unhappy bitch.
Yeah,
Whereas in this one, she's like
like
actively evil.
was it maniacal, megalomaniac? She's a megalomaniac,
Yeah.
maniacal
Um,
megalomaniac.
but there are some scenes in this where it's like, man, that's kind of like, it's kind of intense for what it is. So like,
I did have that thought a few times throughout this week. I was like, oh, this is surprisingly intense.
there's a part near the end, where Cinderella has convinced the prince that like they did meet, and all the, like, it looks like it's going to be a happy ending, but the evil stepmother still has the wand, and she's like magic got like magic. Basically, you used magic to get yourself into this position. Now it'll take you away, and she uses it, and it like pops Cinderella into the center of this disgusting pumpkin, which turns into this like evil version, like how she rides the pumpkin pit carriage in the original
Yeah.
movie. It turns into this like evil version of that, and then Lucifer the cat is turned into a human, and he's the carriage driver, and it like this kind of intense chase scene, and it's like, this is surprisingly intense for Cinderella 3.
I mean,
Like,
they're like, this is the third one. We got to raise that. We got to give people a reason to buy this VHS tape.
like I haven't seen the second one, but I just don't believe. From what I read of the description, it sounds like it's just like a bunch of short stories tied
Yeah.
together. This one like was surprisingly intense.
I wouldn't be surprised if that second was probably one of those, like, it was like the pilot for a TV show. They got stitched together kind of scenarios.
I could believe
Which
that.
is what most of these straight to DVD movies are.
But I guess that would be my summation of this one is for Cinderella 3, it's actually not bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, you're not the first person to hear I've heard say that. So my first one is, I mean, when I went to bad sequels, it was like one of the top ones on the list, and it's also Disney. It's Cars 2. And here's my first question about Cars 2.
We don't talk about Cars 2. We skip straight to Cars 3.
Well, okay, here's the thing, right? So if Cars 2, like in an alternate universe, Cars 2 isn't called Cars 2. It's called like Cars, a Mater adventure. And Cars 3 is instead Cars 2. Is this better received?
Yes.
I had that thought because I have so many things about this that, like, it raises the stakes in this universe to a weird height where it's like, now characters can die. Now characters have guns, and they're being shot at, and they're being blown up. Whereas like
it's also just it's a very different movie than Cars 1 and Cars 2. Cars 1 and Cars 2 is about racing.
It's about those racing.
Are racing movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is like, and I think that would be my summation is, this isn't a sequel, this is a spin-off.
Right, that's exactly it. It's got real spin-off energy. And like, hey, I don't care for Mater, but I understand he's a very popular character amongst children, and this movie did very well financially. Like, that much I get. It didn't do well critically. But yeah, my big thing was like, the stakes in this movie are too high for being a sequel to Cars. Like, I'm like, yeah, in the opening scene, a character gets shot, and you're like, oh, okay. And then obviously there's all this stuff about that universe that just don't make any sense. Like, at one point, they talk about the dinosaurs, and it's like, wait, so were the dinosaurs also cars? Or
they
like,
also, don't they have a pope in this one?
They have a pope, which implies religion, and then there's the planes, which like So do the cars weigh nothing? Like, do they not weigh anything? Do they have no weight? Because there's points where, like, they're hanging off at things by, like, a tiny rope, and it's supporting the weight of a several-ton car. Or there's planes that are, like, regular plane size, but are carrying, like, 10 cars, 20 cars. And you're like, that thing wouldn't fly. Like, literally, it wouldn't be able to take off. There's so much weight in that thing, but it's not bigger. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This universe is nonsense.
This movie makes you question things that you didn't really question before.
No, because in the first one, you're just like, well, they're just talking cars. But this one adds the concept of, like, life and dying. At one point, Mater eats a thing of wasabi. So it's like, wait, why do they have wasabi? How they have taste receptors? What is happening?
Or were there humans and they killed off the humans because they gained sentience?
It's very confusing and upsetting universe, but I will say that I did enjoy it way more. There's a lot of jokes in there that I appreciated way more. Like, I mean, obviously the bad guys being lemons was very funny. Yeah, I remember.
It's one of those movies where, like, if I watch it with the mindset of it's a spin-off, it's his own thing. Yeah, I enjoy it more.
It's a bad Pixar movie, but it's a good DreamWorks movie. I would put it, actually, I wouldn't even put it on the level of DreamWorks. I would say it's a very good Blue Sky movie.
I could see that. I just, in terms of our metrics for this week, though.
Is it a bad sequel? It is a bad sequel.
I would call it a bad sequel, not a bad movie.
No, I don't think
sequel.
It's so funny
because, like, to me, a sequel is supposed to carry on the story of the movie that came before it. So a sequel to Cars 1 should have been carrying on the story of Lightning McQueen and his racing, which Cars 3 does.
And the thing is, it does attempt to give Lightning McQueen a character arc, but it's a character arc that's unfair to him because, like, Mater is being annoying and disruptive and a disruptive influence, and Lightning gets mad and is like, you gotta stop it. He keeps being like, dude, you gotta chill and you gotta stop it. And he keeps doing it anyway. It's like, dude, you gotta chill and you gotta stop it. And, like, his arc is having to learn to accept Mater for who he is. But no, Mater should, like, meet him halfway and stop being such a pain in the fucking ass. That's my thing. Again, I'm criticizing a children's movie, but you get it.
It kind of teaches the wrong message in my opinion.
In my opinion. So we didn't ask. Just quick side tangent. For your first one, is it a good sequel? We didn't ask because we were like, it's a Disney movie. Default no for me, but
yes.
Oh, fair.
For what it is. It continues the story of Cinderella, and it's the what happens after Happily Ever After. Is it a little?
Yeah, but the question is not is it a sequel? Is it a good sequel? I mean, I guess, but then we have to remove. To me, for this, we have to remove the question of does it need a sequel? That cannot be a question here.
Yeah, because, like, if you were to ask, does it need a sequel? No, it doesn't need a sequel. Is it a good sequel? Good is subjective.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think there are elements in there that are good, but it's like it's also it's an hour 20 Disney sequel where it's like if it had like 20 more minutes, I think it would be really, really strong.
Interesting.
But
so a tight like theatrical hour 40. You're like, the concept is good. It's the execution that's not good. There.
Like See,
I'm the opposite. So to go back to Cars 2, to answer your question, no, you're right. I agree with you. It's not a very good sequel. I had that thought when I was watching it because there's a podcast that I constantly shit on, the Escape podcast, and they very famously went viral for saying that Cars 2 is better than Up, which they're wrong.
No.
It's not.
No,
it's not.
No.
But he kept saying his justification.
To me, that's not even a fair comparison. That's like comparing apples to oranges.
I used to be like, oh, this movie is a bad movie, and his argument was, no, this movie's a good movie. And like this time when I was watching it, I'm like, if this wasn't Cars 2, if this was like a spin-off with Mater, would I think this was a bad movie? No, I don't think I would, because there were jokes in there that genuinely I laughed at, and the ending credit song is a legit banger. It's a good song.
The thing about Cars 2 is when you hear Cars 2, it immediately makes you compare it to Cars 1,
Yeah.
and they're again, it's comparing apples to oranges just by the nature of the character of what Mater is versus what Lightning is. That'd be like comparing Winnie the Pooh to Buzz Lightyear. They're
Yeah.
two completely like they're not
I
in the
definitely
same
think
world.
I definitely think Mater does spy movies and travels around the world. I think that's a way more interesting spin-off, especially with Michael Caine there than the Planes movies were, which weren't even made by
Yeah,
Pixar. I
like
you can't
that's the
tell me
thing
that
for
Larry the Cable
me.
Guy wouldn't have been down for that.
That's the thing for me is like looking back at it with a retrospective. Um, no, I don't think it's a bad
I
movie.
don't
I
think
just
it's a
think it's a
bad
bad.
movie.
I just think it's a bad sequel.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But that's it. That's Cars 2. That's Cars 2.
Um, so
Bad sequel. Off to a bad
next
start for me.
on my Disney list is Kronk's New Groove. Um, which I don't know if that one is thought of as bad.
I think. Well, I don't know.
Um,
I wasn't like at the time. I don't recall it, but like in retrospect, I think it was. Yeah. But people really like Kronk, so I think they're really forgiving of it.
and see that's kind of my thing is
As far as spin-offs go, I think it's probably
I
better than that show.
eh,
The
I
saving
don't
grace of
remember
that show.
I don't remember the show well enough to really.
The big thing that
I
this
just
movie is missing is
I
Yzma.
just kind of I just kind no. This movie has Yzma.
I thought that
Um,
she wasn't really in it though. She's only in it kind of.
she's in like the first story. Basically, this one, and this is kind of my thing with this of what makes this bad is the first one is one cohesive story, right?
Yeah.
Which is about Cusco. This one is kind of like three stories, which are
Isn't
like
this one about?
it has an let me finish. It has an overarching concept of he wants to impress his dad.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um but it's got the like the individual stories of like the first part is him dealing with the old folks home and Yzma is trying to con them. And she's got a cattail and ears now and it's weird. Um
Because the potion
and
wore
then
off, kind of.
and then the second part is about him falling in love with the other camp leader and like the competition, and then the third part is he's at the restaurant and his dad's there now and he's trying to lie to his, and it's like you've got the three kind of things.
It doesn't really have a
And
3-act structure, is what you're saying?
no,
They're more like
yeah, and it kind of
vignettes.
yeah, it does have well it does because the overarching structure is him trying to impress his dad and have the house on the hill, the kids, the wife, like all that, right? That's
He
the
wants the big
overarching
ol'
thing. Yeah, basically.
for the audio listeners. I just did a big, very big because of forced
Thumbs
perspective.
up.
Thumbs up. It makes my thumbs
Um,
up look massive. It's really weird
and
looking.
so it's like I don't know. It's not unenjoyable,
No, I mean
but for
Patrick
me,
Warburton as Kronk is always fun. He's never not fun.
yeah, but it's also to me it's an example of he's a sidekick.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. He
He
doesn't need his
works
own
he
thing.
works better as a
I mean,
sidekick,
to be fair,
and too much of him kind of is not a good thing in my
if I
opinion.
not knowing anything about this, if I had to guess, I'm guessing he was a breakout character from that first movie, and they would, oh, he needs his own thing, and then it didn't really work, which is clearly why he got put back into being a secondary character in that show, and it became more about Cusco again because clearly Cusco being the focus
It did
worked.
did this come before the show?
It did, yeah. This came before the show.
Okay, then yeah, probably.
The one
Uh,
saving grace is that they always managed to get Eartha Kitt back to play Yzma. Like she always played Yzma in everything,
yeah. Um, and
and she
I
is
was
amazing.
impressed. Compliment sandwich. I was impressed that they got David Spade back for this.
I mean, he's in it for like what, 30 seconds?
Oh, he's in it. He's in it in the beginning where he's like, "I know what you're thinking. Like, this is not the first one. This one's about me. This one's about him. This one." And there's this whole gag where he's breaking the fourth wall again. Shows up like two or three times, and then at the end, when everyone is pretending to be a fake woman to pretend to be Kronk's wife, he shows up, dressed as a woman, pretending to be Kronk's wife again. He's like, "Don't you love how I managed to sneak into the movie?"
That's funny. Do you
So
have
like there's not like a nothing to enjoy in this. It's just, is it a bad sequel? Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's not a
I would
sequel,
say
it's a
it's a bad
spin-off.
sequel because it's not yeah, exactly. Like the funny thing is though is like when they're first introducing it, like they have a scene where it's like it says the Emperor's New Groove 2, and then that falls away, and then it's Kronk's New Groove. So it's like they in movie do reference it as the Emperor's New Groove 2.
It's not
So
though.
it's like it it's not, but they reference it as
Well,
that. So it's like
it's funny. It's funny that you say that because that's gonna
it's
transition nicely into my next one.
it's a
Actually,
bad it's a bad
it's a
sequel.
bad sequel.
It's kind of
So it's funny. You're like it's the sequel that's not a sequel.
fun movie, bad sequel.
Yeah. So my that's funny. It's funny. It's perfect. Segues nicely into my next one, which is Evan Almighty. Which I'm similar mindset of. It's not a sequel. It's a spinoff. It's not a sequel.
But see, devil's advocate here, I'm going to argue that yours is a sequel. It is a sequel for God.
I mean, okay.
Morgan Freeman is in both, and it's about his story.
I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, technically, it's about Evan's story, but here, okay. So just to get that out of the way, in terms of it being a sequel, it's a bad sequel because it's not a sequel; it's a spinoff. But my number one thing with this movie is I think it started off as a sequel. Like when you're watching it, it comes across in the writing that, and when you read about it, which you're like, Jim Carrey was initially involved and then he dropped out, and then they liked Steve Carell so much in his short like little bits in Bruce Almighty, especially with blah 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 blah, blah stuff. That they decided to give him the lead role, and I think this was like his first like major lead role in a Hollywood movie, and this is sort of when he kind of, I think he left The Office to do this, I think, or there's a period of time where he's not on The Office for a while, and he was doing this, but that might have been 40-Year-Old Virgin. I'm not actually sure. But anyway,
I think he left The Office to do 40-Year-Old Virgin.
That's probably it. But this feels like at one point it was a sequel with Bruce. Because when you slot out, because the big thing for me with this movie is it does not jive with the version of Evan who was in the first movie. Like, I don't believe that he would have stopped being an anchor and like
become a family man
and like go become a congressman,
family politician. Yeah,
like the first line about Evan that you get told is that he's an asshole. So like that doesn't make any sense for him to that character.
Sure, but devil's advocate here, I don't disagree with you, but devil's advocate here, we're told he's an asshole by Bruce, who
not Bruce
himself,
not Bruce, his boss. The boss says it.
Okay, but
you don't want to be like Evan. Evan's an asshole.
One could argue that his boss might have also been an asshole.
I mean,
I'm just saying. We don't know. We didn't interact with Evan a whole bunch.
My theory, well, I mean, I had my headcanon is that when Bruce gave Evan the job back, when Bruce took the job from Evan, it like destroyed him and caused him to like have a, pardon the expression, come to God moment. And when Bruce gave him when Bruce gave him the job back, that was like, that was, to me, that was, I don't think I articulated it well last time, but for me, that was kind of like him seeing the face of God, because I believe when Bruce gives him the job back, I could be wrong, even though I've seen this recently, but I believe when he gives Bruce the job back, or gives Evan the job back, he still has God's powers, right?
I think so.
So I think it's supposed to be metaphorical, at least for this one, retroactively. Perhaps it was supposed to be metaphorical that he saw the face of God and that changed him, maybe?
I don't know that it's necessarily that he saw the face of God. How I would word it is in Evan Almighty later on, there's a point where Morgan Freeman, God, is talking to the wife, and he's like, if God is trying to give you an opportunity to be better, does he just magically make things better, or does he present you with the chance or whatever? So I think maybe more in that moment, to argue on your point here, that Evan was kind of like, Bruce is being a bigger man. Maybe I need to be a better person.
Exactly, and I think that I think you're right. I think maybe that maybe, and then maybe again retroactively, maybe that's what they were kind of going for. And it does. The scene does read that way because that moment between them is very genuine. So it does read that like he's like,
like,
okay, I wasn't expecting this.
Evan kind of gets the look on his face, and this is where I would say I don't think Bruce actually uses his powers.
No.
I think Bruce displays such a act of humanity and compassion that Bruce or that Evan never expected.
Yeah.
That it inspired Evan to be better.
But this movie does kind of imply, as probably a retroactive way to explain why this movie is Evan and not Bruce, that interaction between Bruce and Evan is what put Evan on God's radar. That's why God started to pay attention to him is as a result of that. At least it doesn't say it, but it sort of implies it. But that's mostly because my theory, and I've gotten away from it, is I'm pretty sure this movie was supposed to be Bruce. Because it makes the most sense for him. Like, it makes the most sense that it's the most logical extension of him being the miracle. He would have quit being a reporter and become a congressman. He would have moved. It probably would have been like a couple years later. He would have had like a small family. Grace probably would have still been, or they would have introduced a new love interest.
On the one hand, I agree with you. So I'm going to cut you off real quick here. On the one hand, I agree with you that it is a logical progression of his character, but I don't believe that the man who literally talked to God and had God's power would then go back to being an asshole that needs to learn another lesson.
No, but that's the thing is this movie is not about Evan needing to learn being an asshole and needing to learn a lesson. And no,
it is.
No, I'm not really because the movie doesn't give you
very much is. It's about him not listening to his family, not cherishing them, and bringing them together by literally putting them on a boat.
Right, but the thing about it is it's about him neglecting them by being too busy with the congressman stuff. So that's not him being an asshole. It's him not prioritizing his life. And obviously it's Jim Carrey, and it's a different character, so it's going to be to a degree different. I more meant like the broad strokes of the plot of it, where it was clearly going to be a thing of, at least it reads in the script as it is, where it was going to be like God showed up again in his life, and he's going to be like, I need you to do a Noah, and he's going to be like, no, I already did the God thing once, like, go away, stop it, and like, because otherwise Evan denying all of this doesn't really make any sense because it's sort of empirical, but like these scenes where it's him being like, no, and him forcing the beard on him, that to me works with a guy who is already familiar with this.
See, I stand on the opposite side of the aisle. To me, that doesn't work with a guy who's familiar with this because he's familiar with him. He knows he is God. Why would he deny that it doesn't make any sense for it to be Bruce in that instance to be fighting against it.
No,
because Bruce knows God exists.
Yeah, but I think maybe, I mean, to be fair, you would do it at times. I'm just saying the script reads that it was supposed to be Bruce. Like that this was written for Bruce.
Yeah, that's where I don't disagree with you. I just don't think it would have worked if it was.
I think the idea of this franchise was going to be Bruce gets put through various biblical shenanigans, and it's like about doing the real life. But like I think the opposite is interesting. Like I would watch a third one of this because I was thinking about it when I was watching it. You know what would be kind of interesting? A third one, but it's Moses, but it's not in Egypt.
Interesting.
Okay, hear me out. Okay, this is my pitch. This is my pitch for.
I was gonna say. So it's Moses. It's not in Egypt. It's in modern times. Where do you have it?
Okay, so this is my pitch. Okay, this is my pitch. I'm gonna do this because I'm gonna turn this into a short. I'm not even gonna lie. This is my pitch for blank Almighty. Okay, it's two business partners who work for a CEO, and they both think they're gonna be a CEO one day. And the one of them, they're like brothers, but they're not actually brothers. And the one guy gets like disillusioned by some sort of like, he finds that basically that he's one of the male guys, or that like one of the lower end guys in the company is like his friend or family member or whatever, and he becomes disillusioned and leaves. And God tells him that he has to go save his people from this evil company, from this evil corporation. And it's about saving people from an evil corporation and setting his people free. And then you still do the plagues, with the exception of you don't do the first. And instead of it being the death of the firstborn son, you have it so the company fails, and that's the firstborn son.
I like the idea, and this is one of the rare instances I have a very specific actor in mind for the one that would play Moses. Whatever the character actually would end up being, but the one that ends up being Moses in the modern age, Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm into that. Because to me, it's like you do it as sort of a comedy, and then you have it where yeah, essentially like not that he has God's powers, but like you have it where Moses is doing, and then you do the plagues as like a comedic bit. Where like he shows up and it's the frog. I just picture like he's in the office and the frogs or whatever start raining from the sky, or like there's just locusts flying around him and he's like, see, to me, I think Keegan Michael Key would be a good Ramses, where he's just like he's doing that thing that Keegan Michael Key does. I think that'd be funny.
I'm picturing him with the beard, and I think it would be very funny.
Although it'd be kind of funny if you just brought you know what, fuck it, we'll just do Key and Peele, and Key is Moses, Peele is Ramses. That'd be funny too.
That'd be funny.
That'd be funny.
But I'm picturing a scene where instead of it being the fireballs raining down, have you ever seen on TikTok people have the hair, they'd have to change it slightly, but what I'm thinking of for it is on TikTok they've got there's this type of wand that you can have where you put the paper in and like you do and then it shoots the paper out in like a little fire.
Yeah.
So I'm just picturing where it's like the Moses or whatever, the CEO, maybe the families of all the people like that work there, their kids are all there. They all have like, whether it be that or like little firecrackers or something, and it's all shooting at him. He's like, "Stop it! Stop it!" As the fireballs are all shooting at the CEO.
That'd be fun. That'd be funny. But yeah, that's it. I think that's all I got. That's all I got for Evan Almighty. I quite like Steve Carell.
I think that needs to be our project. Is we need to make this a reality.
We need to get everyone involved who made the first two, up to and including the director. We'll go to like, this is our pitch for the third movie that nobody asked for. I know the second one was panned critically and bombed horribly, but let's make a third one without Jim Carrey or Steve Carell.
But hear me out, and then we throw them the idea.
Right. Like fire paper. It's fire paper and it explodes. It'll look awesome. Also, Keegan Michael Key will be there.
And it'll be a good time by all. It'll be a fun romp.
That's all. That's Evan Almighty. That's all I got for Evan Almighty.
So, my next one, the last, I mean, unless you consider one of them as Disney, but the last Disney animated one.
Oh, we said it was a bad sequel. Yes, never mind. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm gonna preface this with, I think this breaks the mold. I think this is not a bad Disney sequel. Also, real quick, was it a Goofy movie theatrical?
It was, yeah. The Goofy movie went to theaters.
I don't think this one did. I watched an extremely Goofy movie, or as I like to call it, Goofy, the extremely competent adult, goes back to college and succeeds and gets the girl.
There we go. That was very strange. Yeah. That's the extremely Goofy movie is the movie where you find out that Goofy, of the Disney characters, is probably the most responsible adult. He's a student. He's getting straight A's. He has a girlfriend whom he never has a single issue with. Seriously, there's never a point in that movie where him and the girlfriend break up and it's like an all is lost moment. The conflict in that movie never results of his relationship with her. It's kind of incredible.
And it's just a generally fun. Bradley Uppercrust the Third is hilarious.
My favorite bit.
It's a genuinely fun fun movie, and important. Like, the important thing is to bring it in line with our show here. It is a sequel. It is a continuation of a Goofy movie.
Absolutely
He's
is.
graduating high school. Him and his dad, him and his buddies are going to college. It's all the same. Like, it's the three.
I want them. I want them
from the original.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only disappointing thing is,
I don't think Pete's in it much.
Pete's in it, like, only insofar of the fact of, like, I can't miss you if you don't go away, son. Kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And Goofy goes to him at one point when he's having his kind of everything's
midlife
going
crisis.
Wrong, everything's going the wrong moment, and that's when he goes back and he's like, I lost focus on the school and everything.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that he was like, you know what? He took stock of his life. He was like, you know what? I need to go back to school, fix my education, get my life together. I'm like, that's such an adult thing. He's like, yeah, he's just such an adult.
well, I mean, he didn't have a choice, but it was more, yeah, it's like the career person was like, yeah, you have to go back to school, and he's like, but I'm too old, and then does it and nails it
And
and
nails it
gets the girl.
like a champion. I love the bit at the beginning where it's the credit or the title, and it's like a Goofy movie. And you're like, oh yeah, I know it's a Goofy movie, an extremely Goofy movie. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
we're in for a real treat. It's an extremely Goofy
Um,
movie. No, I want them to make a
my one thing, if I could have changed one thing, um, and I understand, he's graduating high school. It's been a couple years. High school romances are ultimately doomed to failure. But I would have had it where Roxanne was at the same school and he falls in love with her.
that would be pretty good. I mean, I look, I want them to do and I think the moment's right for it, and I think they could do it, but only on the condition that it goes to theaters. Um, I think they should make a third one.
Oh,
I
that'd be fun.
the 20th anniversary like just happened. Jason Marsden, Jason Marsden and Bill Farmer are still, while they can still do, especially Bill Farmer, um, and do it where it's the third one. Max is now married and an adult, and he has his own kids, and it's about him interacting with his children. And Goofy comes into comes and stays for the holidays or for like summer or for some event, and it's about Goofy being a grandpa and Max being embarrassed by him all over again.
So I love that idea, and I would be 100% okay with that if they did do that. But I have one other version of it, which I think could be sweet and could be nice as well. And that's where the only same basic premise, but the only real difference for me is the kid isn't born yet, and Max is freaking out about being a dad, and
Ooh, that would also be good.
it's more about Goofy like reassuring him, like I'm goofy as all heck, and like if you turned
Yeah,
out
that would also be
fine,
good. Oh yeah,
like
I mean, I'm of
I
two
would I,
minds. Like
I would be okay with it with either of
that
them.
also would
Is
be
kind of
really
my
good. Yeah,
thing.
it's him panicking about being a dad, and it's about Goofy reassuring him that like I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
If I did it, you can do it. That would also be good. I'm also like, yeah, the kid is a teenager, and it's the same movie, and now Max has to turn to Goofy and be like, how did you do this? Like, I think that would also be fun as well.
Sorry, real
Have it be
quick.
a three-way road
Uh,
trip movie between the three of them. That'd be fun.
I mean, that would be fun. Real quick. Street says, I'm watching this as I do homework right now. I feel like Goofy.
Feel like, I mean, Goofy did his
So that means
homework. He stayed in
that means you're
school.
that means you're nailing it.
Yeah,
You're working hard at your studies. You're studying as hard as you can, and you're getting straight A's.
you're getting those
Because
straight
Goofy
A's.
in this movie, Goofy is a champion,
Also, like, to me, that is the highest honor. That is the dream as a podcaster, is to be something that you put on in the background while you do something else. So
right?
thank you. That truly means a lot, because I also listen
Um,
to this podcast while I do something else. So
I don't listen to this one, but I listen to other podcasts.
that's the
So,
point. You listen to podcasts while you do something else. Um,
um, but yeah, to answer the question of is it a good sequel? Yes, I think this
I
one breaks the
absolutely do.
mold,
I think it also breaks the mold of those it's a late game Disney Channel or Disney straight to DVD sequel, so it's that point where everyone's just assuming they're gonna be bad. I remember when it came out, seeing the advertisements for it, like being like a third or fourth commercial on a DVD. It got like, and yeah,
yeah,
the first one did respectable and went to theaters. Like, that's what's incredible about that first movie, is like it's a Goofy movie.
right? And it's like Goofy is a person. He's not just
Right.
like a caricature like he is in everything else. It's like
Like
no, they looked at Goofy and they were like, what if Goofy was a dad,
like
just a
incredibly
normal dad?
incredibly, there's never been a theatrical Mickey movie.
No, I don't know, no,
Not a
not that I
feature
can think
length.
of.
Not a feature length.
Not
I mean, they've
not
had
a
some
feature length.
shorts. They've had some shorts, but they've never had a feature length Mickey. But yet Goofy, or Donald, really. But yet Goofy got one. I mean, Donald's got
But
several TV shows. Mickey hasn't even got a TV show. Well, at least one that doesn't suck.
You too, Street. You keep up the good work as well.
Thanks
Do
for
do good with that homework.
yeah.
I believe in you.
You nailed that homework. I'm fingers crossed you get A pluses or
A plus
whatever
plus plus
whatever.
plus plus.
I don't know if they still do letter grades in the schools anymore. George, you know that they changed math? It's now called new math. It's a whole thing.
No, we're not. We're not doing this bit. No, no,
That's a whole
no, no.
thing.
You can't change math. 1 + 1 is always 2.
No, not according to new math. Jordan, I thought that new math wasn't a thing. It's a thing.
I deny your reality and say that a good, extremely goofy movie is a good movie, and it deserves to be appreciated by more of society. What's your next one, Justin?
My next one is kind of a twofer because I watched 2 movies because it had been so long
Whoa.
since I.
Whoa! That feels like cheating.
It's a slight twofer. I'm not really going to talk about the first one. I need to watch 2 because this movie popped up on several of my lists the past few weeks, and that's The Whole 10 Yards. It showed up on the Rotten Tomatoes episode. It showed up on. I think there's been a couple, and so I finally was like, okay, I'll sit down and I'll watch this movie. And I had to watch the first one because I was like, it's been so long since I've seen The Whole 9 Yards. So for those of you who haven't seen the whole 9 yards, it's Matthew Perry and Bruce Willis, and Matthew Perry lives in Montreal with his bitch of a wife who hates him, and you could tell she's French because she sits around all day smoking a cigarette. And in moves next door Bruce Willis playing Jimmy the Tulip, who is a former mob boss henchman, and
Jimmy the Tulip?
Jimmy the Tulip because he kills you and leaves a tulip. He's got tulip tattoo on his wrist. And
okay, sorry, real quick. Street says new math is real and it's confusing, and that upsets and angers me. So I just
it is real. That
wasn't
a bit. Did you think that was a bit?
Yes, I did, because I thought you were making fun of Incredibles 2, where it's Mr. Parr or whatever. He's like, it's math. Why would they change math?
Oh no, that joke is based on a very real thing. No, new math is they introduced it like a couple years after we graduated. Like it's
why?
Like it's
What was wrong with math?
My dad tried to explain new math to me once. Someone tried to explain it to me once, and it didn't make any sense. And I was like, I don't have to learn this anymore, so I don't care. They're right. It is confusing. No, anyway, the whole 9 yards. So, the Matthew Perry's wife convinces him to go and rat Jimmy the Tulip out for money. And the movie basically becomes Matthew Perry and Jimmy the Tulip becoming friends, all while Matthew Perry also falls in love with Jimmy the Tulip's wife. And it's a funny movie. It's R-rated. There's a lot of cursing. There's some boobs. It's funny because there's a twist at the end where you find out that his receptionist was initially hired to kill him. Like, she was a contract killer who was hired to kill Matthew Perry, but she became friends with him and couldn't do it. And it's one of those things where it's a fun twist if you know it, because when you rewatch the movie, at the beginning of the movie, she's on the phone with the wife being like, no, I can't do it. I'll give you the money back. And you think it's for something else initially, but it's one of those, when you watch it back the second time, it's kind of fun. Anyway, the whole 10 yards. I say that to do the whole 10 yards. So at the end of the first movie, they fake Bruce Willis's Bruce Willis's death. And they have because the whole thing is they're trying to get this big pile of money that the dad of this crime boss left for all of them. And in order to get, it was a wedding present, sorry. So in order to get access to this money, they need a key or some sort of MacGuffin from all 3 of them. So Jimmy, Bruce Willis, his wife, and the bad guy, played by Kevin Pollak, one of them can get this money with the signature or whatever of 2 of the people involved. So the whole thing is Bruce Willis wants to kill the wife and the bad guy. And so the movie ends where they fake Bruce Willis's death so that they can go to the bank and get this money. And Bruce Willis winds up with the receptionist, and Matthew Perry winds up with Bruce Willis's wife. You've seen the whole 10 yards, right? I feel like you have.
I feel like I have. I can't. I don't specifically remember, but it sounds familiar.
And then the second one is now it's a few years later, and
They all
Jimmy.
lived happily ever
Well,
after.
Jimmy and the girl are living in Mexico in hiding, and uh, Matthew Perry and his wife are living in Los Angeles, and Matthew Perry is like crazy paranoid, and he's got like all these security systems or whatever, and Jimmy the Tulip has become kind of a wuss, and he's having erectile dysfunction, and him and his wife want to get pregnant, but they can't, and so the whole thing is, um, the whole thing is there's like a dollar bill that has been torn in half, and when they bring it together, it has the serial number or the bank account number, so they can get like $16 million or whatever. And so the Bruce Willis and the wife have been like secretly communicating with each other, so she can go to the big crime boss dad, who is also played by Kevin Pollak, the same actor who played his son in the first movie, and she tries to go to his house and find the dollar bill. And the movie is basically they eventually kidnap the guy's other son, and they're trying to exchange for the wife, and they're trying to rescue the wife. And it's all right. It's one of those sequels where like everyone came back, but no one's putting in any enthusiasm. Like no one really seems to care.
Right.
I don't
Just
think
a payday.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad sequel. I think it's an all right sequel. I thought it was funny. There's a really funny running gag where the lead bad guy keeps mispronouncing words, and his son keeps correcting him, and every time he does, he like slaps him in the face, and he's like, I don't care. Why do you keep doing this? I don't. And then there's a part where he's like, they have the other son, and he's like, I want to talk to my other son. It's the only way that the wife stays alive. And they go to give him the phone to have him talk to him, and he's like, where is he? Where is he? And they go outside, and he's like, I'm in here, guys. And he's locked in the trunk, and he's like, oh, where are the keys? Where are the keys? And he's like, it's in here with me. And so they're talking to him. He's like, oh, we'd love to like let you talk to the son, but he's not around. Where is he? He's like, well, he's trapped in the trunk. Oh, this I believe. Yes, this I believe. Did you check did you push the trunk release button? And they're like, what? The trunk release button. It's the reason why I know every car since 1986 has had a trunk release button. It's because of that movie. It's like every car since 1986 has had a trunk release button. Yeah. I thought it was funny. There's a lot of jokes that made me laugh. The plan is one of those plans where it's like requires just like a hair too many steps of like 3D chess for it to work. But yeah, I thought it was funny. But I is it a bad sequel? No, in the sense that at least it's a sequel, but it's a lazy sequel. It's one of those sequels where it's like, just do the same shit you did last time. The thing it really suffers from is it's a PG-13 movie as opposed to an R-rated movie. So like no one really gets to curse. There's like no blood. There's no boobs.
There's nothing worth really talking about.
Not really. It's just kind of an all-right movie that made me go, oh, R.I.P. Matthew Perry. And I'm sad for Bruce Willis. That's the whole 10 yards.
So my next three, I don't have a lot to say, so they should go fairly fast. Next one was one which, when I was looking at lists of like historically, not historically, but like people usually think of them as bad sequels. This was one that was on the list, which is Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
I don't think this one's that bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that good, but I don't think it's that bad. I sort of have realized that, like, when it comes to Jurassic Park, once you do the first one of the trilogy, I don't really see a world where the sequel works.
I mean, that's kind of it. That's why they've never managed to make a sequel work.
And I mean that even in the Jurassic World, where it's like you have the first movie, which is about either the park getting made or the park failing, and like once the park fails, where do you go from there? Oh, you go to a separate island where the facility was. That's this one.
Yeah.
Separate island where the creation facility was, and they gotta. No. Why? No. Bomb the place.
Yeah,
Be
right.
done with the failed genetic abominations.
Right.
Like there's this whole ethical question that the movie wants to present, and later like the Jurassic World ones do this as
Yeah,
well, where
we're
they
like,
want to
we created
present
these
like
creatures, we brought them into this world. Is it right for us to kill them? It's not their fault. Yes, it is. Gas
it
it,
is.
gas the whole island.
They're extinct creatures that you brought into this world against their will. Return them to where they belong, which is, the grave.
Right.
Especially because, and like later Jurassic World movies kind of make a point of this. These aren't actually dinosaurs. They're genetic abominations that you've made approximation to dinosaurs, but you filled their genomes with other creatures. They're not dinosaurs.
Right. Right.
Now that being said, um, I also in this movie they have Jeff Goldblum's character is now a dad, which
Yeah.
I just in no reality of any world do I believe that character should ever be a parent.
Should he be? I mean, it doesn't sound like he chose to be. It sounds like he. Whoopsies.
Yeah, I stand by what I said.
Sounds like he was
Um,
like, whoopsies.
um, that being said, like
Still Jeff Goldblum, though.
it's still Jeff. It's still not an unenjoyable film because you got dinosaurs trying to murder people.
That's true.
Murder,
You know what?
kill.
I am gonna swap this.
Dinosaurs can't murder. They're not the same as us.
I am gonna swap
Kill.
this. Kill.
They're
Yeah.
trying to kill people, and like, yeah, on some level that's enjoyable, but
So, but Jordan,
it's
is it a good sequel?
yes, because good is it's middling.
Yeah,
I
it
wouldn't
is.
say it's good, but I wouldn't say it's bad.
See, you know what? I'm swapping mine around just so I can do this one next. Is that it for Jurassic Park 2?
Yeah, that's it for Jurassic. And see that's I will say real quick, going back to your cars thing, that's one thing that I appreciate about this one. And it's kind of the reason because it depends on who you consider to be your main character. If you consider Dr. Grant and the
Ellie
girl
Statler?
to be yeah, her to be the main characters, then no, this is a bad sequel.
Oh, it's
Um
really more of a spin-off.
It's a spin-off, and it doesn't call itself Jurassic Park 2.
Nope, it absolutely doesn't.
So if we're, by our metrics of, but see that's where John Hammond shows up in this one as well.
Yeah.
So it's like technically you could argue it's the continuation of his story.
I suppose you could. Yeah, I suppose you could.
So that's where I say it's hard for me to say if it depends on who you consider to be the main character. I guess would be my thing. Um, but I do appreciate that it doesn't call itself Jurassic Park 2.
It does not call itself Jurassic Park 2. Unlike my next one. Is that it? Is that it for Jurassic Park 2?
That's it.
So, John, I figured I swapped a couple things around because I was like, I have more to say about Tron 2 than I do. So I did Jurassic Park 3. And I kind of figured one of the angles, I'm gonna do my overall thoughts, but I figured we come at the angle by the end of this of which is the worst sequel. I'm gonna start this by saying I think it's a bad sequel because I don't think it does anything interesting or significant or move the universe forward in any way that's interesting. All it really does is kind of just do the first one over again. Like it hits a point in the second half where it kind of just becomes the first one again. And it's like, I like the first one back in the first one, but I will say that this one, I did become more interested in this one because it kind of made me go like, this is now a world where there's this island that has dinosaurs on it that no one can access except for by boat because the government of Costa Rica won't let them. But I'm like, I guess I'm like, there would be the dinosaur equivalent to the Titan submersible in this universe. I'm like, only like rich white people would like surely like there's a movie in this universe where like rich white people try to go to this island in like a Titan submersible style like fuck up and they all get eaten by dinosaurs. Like I would watch that movie where it's just like
I would argue that that's what the third one is.
It kind of is because it starts off with the guy and the kid like parasailing near the island. He's like, "I'll give you $100 if you get us closer to the island," and it's just like, why would you go near the island with the murder lizards on it? You should just leave the island with the murder lizards on it alone. Don't get close to the island with the flying murder lizards.
I believe that in this world that it would be kind of an urban legend.
What
that like the common man. Well, I kind of have to believe that the government would want to bury it as much as possible.
I mean, clearly not, because these people. No, they don't, because a big part
it's been a
of
while since I've seen the third one.
A big part of the third one is what's his face wrote a book, and there's a really funny bit where the guy pretends that he read Alan Grant's book. He's like, "Oh, you didn't read the book, did you?" "No, I didn't read the book." But Tia Leone and it's the only time I've ever hated William H. Macy. They're so annoying. They don't listen to a thing. Like, they just endlessly scream when they're told not to. And then the kid shows up and then he endlessly screams when he's told not to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but, you're right. It is bad, but is it worse than the second one?
I think it's worse than the second one. I genuinely do.
I think that's a matter of how much do you like Ian Malcolm.
Yeah. I like Alan Grant, and even I don't think he elevates this movie. I think he just looks like he's there for the paycheck.
No. I don't think he elevates the movie, but I don't think Jeff Goldblum elevates the second one.
Jeff Goldblum elevates every movie he's in. Because Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum.
But you come on, man. Come on, you know what I'm saying.
He's never been bad in a thing. Name one thing that Jeff
Jurassic Park.
Nah, I disagree. He's not bad in that movie.
And my thing is not that he's bad. It's that he does a very good job of making the character unlikable, and I think he's going for that.
I mean, that is what he's going for.
Yeah. And so that's where I say I don't think Jeff Goldblum, the actor, is doing a bad job. I'm saying whether or not you think the second one is worse than the third one is ultimately going to come down to how much you like the portrayal of the character that he is portraying. And I just I don't think Alan Grant elevates the third one, but I don't think Jeff Goldblum's character elevates the second one.
I'll say this: Jeff, the two parents, they're so annoying that they're more annoying than anything in Jurassic Park 2. They're so annoying.
I mean,
I hear that stupid phone jingle one more time.
You're right. They are. As for their son, I would argue that he is just as annoying as Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm's daughter's character.
Oh, I mean, yeah, any kids in movies always annoying. Like, they're always annoying. But for me, this time, the more interesting thing to me was like,
Plus, and this is kind of the part which makes me love the second one more than the third one. In defense, like in arguing for my own movie, the part where they're standing on the dock and the ship is just plowing directly towards them and plows directly into the dock when they're in San Francisco is so it's not supposed to be funny, but it's so funny. Like, it's so funny. And then the T-Rex just rampage, like drinking out of the pool, which my brain is instantly like, would the chlorine make the dinosaur sick, or is there not enough chlorine in that pool?
Oh, it absolutely would. It absolutely could kill them because it wouldn't have any like defense for it. No, my favorite bit in the second one is where they all meet each other. Like, they all after they all reunite because they hear the phone ring. Like, the Alan Grant and the kid run towards the other group.
Oh, in the third one, you mean?
Yeah, and they're running towards it. And they're like, how did you know we were here? It's like, oh, it's that stupid jingle, that stupid phone. I could hear it from over there. It's like, I don't have the phone. And like, what? He must have had it when. And then they pan over, and the dinosaur is just standing there, and then with a look of like, stop, like, hey, how's it going? But it's like, that doesn't make any sense. How did they not hear him walk up? He's massive,
right? One thing about the third one, though, that it kind of makes me retroactively not dislike World, but it's a thing that I can't help but notice. The Indominus Rex is just the dinosaur from the third
Oh, for
one.
sure. Yeah. I mean,
Not in terms of like what he actually like what type of dinosaur it
just
is,
this
but like
function.
function.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Function.
He's the bigger he's the thing that's bigger than the T-Rex. Like every movie from this moment on is like, we need a thing that's bigger and more evil than the T-Rex. I will say this isn't the worst Jurassic Park movie. That's very definitely the last one.
Oh, of World, the third World one.
Yeah. They're all the same to me. So they count.
I
It's the worst Jurassic Park movie.
I can't remember enough. I think I agree with you.
That's the one with the giant locusts.
Oh yeah, that one's dumb.
That one's really dumb. It's either that one or the second world one, where it's revealed that the one girl is a human clone. God, that was stupid.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Of the World ones, I really only like the first one.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the most interesting thing to me about this one was just the idea that, like, yeah, here's this thing, this fantastic thing. Surely some rich white idiot would try to go to this island. Like, they would try to bribe an official. Like, there'd be like in this universe, there has to be like a dinosaur island equivalent to the Titan submersible. Like, they just has to be.
But to answer the ultimate question, which one do you think the second one is better than the third one?
I do, yeah. I do think the second one's better than the first one, the third one.
I think like they're both
Objectively,
like
but I like the third one more.
I think they're both like here. Like, to me, they're both like on the same level, and it's just my dislike of Ian Malcolm and my like of Alan Grant just kind of makes it so that the third one ekes it out for me just on that.
And also, I think the third one's just shorter. I think the second one's like almost 2.5 hours. I think the second one's like stupid long. There's a couple of these movies that were too long. We're gonna get to Joker 2. Don't even worry about it. That's it though. That's it for Jurassic Park 3. I got one more after this.
I have two, but one of them they're both really short. So another one that I constantly hear is really bad, which I don't think it's that bad. I can see the argument, but I don't think it's that bad. Is the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I can see the argument. That movie has too much going on. You need to strip back like at 5 or 6, like 2 or 3 things.
Well, for me, really, the only thing that you need to do is you need to remove the Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the Basement of Secrets. Get rid of the Basement of Secrets.
Basement of Secrets.
You know the basement which has Dr. Octopus's arms and the Vulture's wings.
Oh yeah,
get rid of that.
If you remove Green Goblin, then you remove that.
That's true. That does go with Green Goblin. That's fair.
Also, I don't know if I'm talking too loud or what, but I swear to God, I keep hearing myself through you.
Really?
I keep hearing something which sounds like me, like a very quiet me.
I'm not hearing it.
Because no, yeah, I really like what Jamie Foxx is doing with Electro in this. I like the build up. I like the origin of him and I like what they're doing with
maybe not the chip growing back. That part was stupid.
The what?
When he turns into Electro and the chip in his tooth grows back.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, it's really dumb.
But I even like the sorry. It's really distracting. I even like when when it has the music, he hates me, he lied to me, he da 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 da, and it like the slow build up of music as he's as he's kind of getting angry and giving into the electroness of it all.
Also,
so like
objectively,
the framework is there for a really solid movie, and what they do in the movie overall, I don't think is bad. It's just the Green Goblin is
everything surrounding him. Don't do the magic blood. Like not even like I don't even mind that guy as Norman Osborn, not Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn. I don't mind him as Harry.
No, like my thing is like
I like all the stuff up into him turning into the Green Goblin.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't mind any of that stuff. the build up, and like to have him be the thing that kind of pushes Electro over the edge. I don't even mind that.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe make it so he's
it's
still sick,
really
but like it doesn't accelerate maybe quite as fast. So he still
well,
does
yeah.
turn
Like
heel in the end.
the thing is that like you could you have it where it's like he finds out from his dad that the disease exists, and then the rest of his actions throughout the movie are influenced by
Yeah, still
that.
motivated by
But
that.
then you leave it open for the sequel for him to come back and then be the Green Goblin in that, and not the weird version of the Green Goblin that they had,
But
but
like a
like
normal version.
the guy in a suit who is super strong and is just normal.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Um, and then like that kind of then leads into the Gwen Stacy dies and Peter is angry and him fighting against a friend. Like it leads into a stronger sequel that never got made.
Yep. Also, objectively, the best live action version of the Spider-Man costume.
I agree. I genuinely like the costume in this one.
Is
Um,
objectively the best one. I don't care what anyone says. I say that as a lover of all of the MCU ones. They all suck. This is the best one. Up until the last one.
so so the summation though is I don't think this is a bad sequel.
I I I do only because it's doing too much. If it's it has the potential to be. I think it's not a maybe it's not a good sequel, but it's not a bad
Oh
sequel.
no! I don't think it's a good sequel. That's the thing, and that's kind of the. I know that the point of this was to be like, is it good or is it bad? A lot of these, I don't think they're bad. I think they're just okay or
Yeah,
fine or acceptable.
I think this
I think it's
one.
I think when you look at what came before it and what existed at this point in time in terms of Spider-Man movies, I think it's on par with at least the other like the most of the Sam Raimi ones.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely as good as
Like
Spider-Man
it's not
3.
it doesn't deserve I guess my point is it doesn't deserve the kind of universal hatred
Well,
that it's
it's
gotten.
weird. It went through that period where everyone just called it a PowerPoint presentation for other movies, which it is. Don't get me wrong, it absolutely is.
How do
But
you mean?
it's just there to try to sell you like spin-offs and sequels, and it's there to show the executives, oh hey, there's the spin-off for the Sinister Six movie. Oh, there's the spin-off for the Black Cat thing. Oh, there's the tag for Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like that's what that movie did, and then that's why that movie failed, and that version of that universe fell apart, and what ultimately led to those Spider-Man-less Sony movies.
Fair, fair. But
Uh,
anyway, what's
but
your
yeah,
last
no,
one?
that's it's one of those ones where like people are coming back. People have done this thing with movies where they like to pretend bad movies are good, or that they were always good, or that they were like some sort of like the people were doing that we talked about. They were them doing it with the Transformers movies. People are kind of doing it with these Spider-Man movies where they're pretending they're better than they are. Like it's an okay movie, but it's not like it's not. It's up there with
It's
like the
not
worst Raimi
part
movies, and it's not nearly as good as
part
any of the MCU ones.
pardon the phrase, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, I like it better than the
Eh
first
eh
one. Yeah,
eh?
I like it better than the first one because it's the most that Spider-Man has ever really gotten to just kind of be Spider-Man in a movie.
Yeah, and I think that's why what I really enjoy about it. And again, I like what they did with Electro, which clearly they did too, and that's why he got to come back for the
We
Spider-Man
never
3
saw Rhino
and
again.
oh no, not even Rhino. I was going to say Harry doesn't come back for
Oh
amazing
yeah,
or
that
for
is
that
also
one.
true. He was supposed to at one point, but anyway, yeah, that's it. That's what you have Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes. Yes.
My final one, my final rapid fire, is a little movie called Space Jam 2, More Space Jam. But too much
Oh, the one
Space
that's
Jam.
bad.
The one that's
Bad,
bad.
bad.
Bad Space Jam. And here's the thing about bad Space Jam is, man, I would have loved to have been the guy who got to dress up as Jim Carrey, the mask, and stand in the background and be just slightly blurred so you can't tell that it's not Jim Carrey. The funniest part of that
uh,
movie is all the background actors dressed badly as characters from other things, just dancing randomly or like reacting, like they're clearly in a green CGI green screen room, and they've been told, okay, you're gonna be in a basketball game. The Looney Tunes are over there, and action.
I mean, my favorite is when you have PG Rick and Morty who have to be like very censored.
Oh, I mean, I got so many. Like my favorite is the bad guys from Clockwork Orange, just randomly in the background. My
There's
thing.
so
Okay,
many.
this movie. Okay, it is. There's stuff in it that's interesting up until the point where they start playing not basketball. I'm like there's kind of there's two movies here. There's the sequel to Space Jam, and then there's this movie where it's Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes characters travel to different Warner Brothers themed worlds. And I'm like, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a road trip movie of sorts. Those were the scenes that were the most fun. Where it's like, yeah, it's LeBron James and Bugs Bunny going to the different worlds, and there's the bit where it's
Collecting them all. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like and like it's weird because Bugs has this weird arc that comes out of nowhere, doesn't really go anywhere, and it has like unearned like drama at the end where he has this arc where he lies to LeBron and tricks him into getting the Looney Tunes instead of getting like Superman and whatever to help him be on his basketball team. And it kind of seems to be giving Bugs this like he's lying to LeBron, and like they give LeBron this like he's like his arc of like he's like being strict on like you have to follow the rules, you have to follow the rules. And it seems to be like at one point there was something written for the Looney Tunes where because it constantly hints that the first movie happened. Like there's all these hints that like they're like, oh, we've done this before. Oh, we've done this before.
Isn't there a scene where they're like, yeah, we even got the great one or whatever, and they make a joke about how it seems like Michael Jordan is going to show up,
Yeah,
and it's like a different Michael Jordan.
it's Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah,
what do you want
yeah.
from me? It's been like 25 years. Yeah, so it seems like almost like at one point they were gonna have this like they came into it overconfident because they're like, oh wait, and you even see like the Monstars at one point, like they're in their regular form, but you see them in the background. So it seems like they were gonna do this thing where they like this arc where like they came into it overconfident. Because it's just like the arc of the movie is the Looney Tunes have to learn to do the stuff that helped them win the first game, which is not really follow the rules of basketball and be cartoon characters. Um, and the opposite basketball
Yeah,
team, they're just
they're not playing basketball in this. They're playing video game basketball.
yeah, they're essentially playing NBA Jam. It's just NBA Jam.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, video game
Well,
basketball.
it's not even video game basketball. It's arcade video game basketball. So it's not like NK 2020 or whatever. Where it's like a real basketball game. No, it's like cartoon arcade where like you could do cartoonishly
That's what I
tall.
mean.
Yeah,
That's what I mean when I say video game basketball.
yeah. It's very. There's a specific one though called NBA Jam, which is just literally NBA Jam. But like yeah, so that's their
Or
arc.
the one where you can play as Mario, Peach, and Luigi.
Yeah. That's not NBA Jam, but that's the idea, yeah. And so it's like it's not even really basketball, but it feels like this script was at one point, yeah, a Looney Tunes movie where it's like they travel to different Warner Brothers. Like there's this interesting movie where it's the Looney Tunes versus this algorithm, this computer, and it doesn't really explain anything because it's like wait. So all the characters in this universe, this serververse, all seem to be like real, like they're really the Looney Tunes, but it's like but they're not. But then it implies that they're programs. It's really confusing and underexplained, and it's
arbitrary.
It's one of those movies where it's just the thing it's accusing. It's trying to fight. So it's trying to be. One point, LeBron is against being like this corporate shill who is just about trademark and IP, and that's just what this movie is. And I'm like, if you're gonna do that version of it. Like, if you're gonna have it where you're gonna have all these characters, like, yeah, have it where it's like the Looney Tunes interact with Superman and like, and then they go to the Superman world or the Wonder Woman world. Like the scene where it's Lola Bunny and she's interacting with Wonder Woman. This movie becomes decidedly less interesting when they start doing the actual Space Jam because they just become boring looking CGI characters.
The thing is they have this world where the fighting game, just make the fighting game the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you know how they have all the trailers where it's like Bugs is interacting with Batman.
Those parts.
That's what this movie should have been.
Right? It's like it just kind of devolves to they're just trying to do the first one again. And like the thing with this franchise, that was never going to work. The problem is have we ever talked about Skate Jam?
No.
Okay. Very long story, very short. They were going to do a sequel to Space Jam called Skate Jam, where it was going to be Tony Hawk. Like
Huh.
to the point that they were in talks with it, and like Tony Hawk
I
was
thought
like,
you were gonna. I thought you were gonna say Wayne Gretzky, like skate, like ice
I
skate.
could see why you would say that, but no, it was down to the point that like he had seen like a script, like he was signed on to do it, and then Looney Tunes Back in Action bombed horribly, and it scared them off of Looney Tunes movies. Which is why
Mm,
this movie exists clearly, because they were like the only way that people are gonna go watch a Looney Tunes movie is if it's Space Jam, and I'm like, but the basketball portions of it are the least. But maybe I don't know because we asked this question the first time we watched it, where we know nothing about LeBron James. Like this movie really wants you to know about LeBron James, but now in retrospect, having like seen the first one, you don't really need to know anything about Michael Jordan to enjoy that movie because Michael Jordan isn't the main character of that movie.
yeah, I would also, and I think I said this the first time. I would also say Michael Jordan was more of a household name than LeBron James
See,
is.
but I've had people say that's not true. That LeBron James very much to like kids nowadays is a household name. So I'm like, but so much of this is references to his career. But also, to be fair, so much of the first one is references to Michael Jordan's career. I just happen to know Michael Jordan's career. So
Yeah,
maybe that's because I read a book on him when I was a kid. So like maybe that's just it. But like the framing of that first this one is basically like it's all about LeBron. It's about saving LeBron's family. It's about like the story arcs are about LeBron. The Looney Tunes don't really get to do anything. Whereas the first one, it's about helping the Looney Tunes solve a problem.
yeah,
That's
it's about them not being sold into slavery.
right. So it's they are the ones who initiate the action. They're the ones who go after Michael Jordan. Whereas this one, it's just like LeBron just gets tossed into this, and it's just yeah, it's just not very interesting. It's not very good.
Doesn't do
It's
it.
bad. It's a
Doesn't do
bad
it.
sequel. It's a bad sequel, Jordan.
Yeah.
It's a bad sequel. It's not very good. It's bad. Moving on.
Um, my last rapid fire is Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales, which
Hold on. Let me do it. It's Pirates of the Caribbean 5, the one Jordan forgot.
yeah, even when I was watching this, I was like, I'm not confident that I watched this.
We have definitely seen
Um,
it.
and having finished it, I'm still not confident that I actually watched this because there, I how to
I can
put this.
absolutely promise you we've watched it.
The one before I remember I didn't watch it, so I don't remember the details now, but I remember just really disliking. This one, this is the Toy Story 4 of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not necessary, but it's kind of a nice epilogue to story threads that you didn't need a resolution to, but it's kind of nice to see it.
Yeah, you're like, I don't need
Um,
this. This isn't very good. It's completely forgettable, but it's
but
serviceable.
it's kind of a nice bookend. So like I it like the end of the third one, Will goes off and is on the Flying Dutchman, and he's like he's got it, but he's like they kind of like leave it with this happy like one day a year he gets to be with it with what's her name, um, but like this one by the end of it, his curse is broken and him and Elizabeth end up back together, and like it ends with them hugging and kissing and stuff, and it's like I didn't need this, but it's kind of nice to know that they get their happy ending.
Right? Right? But, and this
Um,
is very important, don't make a sixth one.
no, oh no.
Don't
That's where I
don't don't
say
do another one of these.
it's the Toy Story 4. I don't need Toy Story 5. Don't make another one. Don't make a sixth one of these. This is the end of it. Like
Yeah, end it here.
Jack sails off into the sunset. He can continue having his adventures that I don't need to see.
Right? Right?
Also, also the fact that the girl in it ends up being Barbossa's daughter, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting
That's a neat
touch.
twist.
The fact that Will and Elizabeth's daughter and Barbossa's daughter end up kind of like being interested in each other, and I'm like, man, this is a small world.
Right? Right?
Like there's hundreds of people in this world, and the daughter of Barbossa happens to end up with the son of Will and Elizabeth. That's a very
What a
okay,
coincidence.
sure. Let's go with that.
We'll go with that.
Um So, is it a bad sequel? No. If this was the fourth one, I think it would have been more
Yeah.
well received.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I felt the same way. This one, it reminds me a lot of um Terminator Dark Fate, where it's like if this one had been the fourth one instead of the last one, people probably would have liked this one more.
Yeah, and quite frankly, if the fourth one didn't exist and this was the fourth one, I could see this then having sequels. I could see it being about not necessarily about Jack, but being about Will and Barbosa, like Will's son and Barbosa's daughter, and like they're the new
Yeah, I
the
mean
new
that one wanted a Will and Elizabeth just as much as the last one did. It's just this one actually might manage to make a connection that people might give a shit about.
yeah. But my point is just that if this had been the fourth one, I think there would have been a new trilogy.
Probably. You're probably not wrong. Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, to be fair, by this one, Johnny Depp is so checked out. He's getting his lines fed through a
Well,
earpiece.
that's where I say though I see this one as the way to send him off, and then you have also they have a point in this where you see young, and it's not played by Johnny Depp, but you see young
I mean, it is.
Jack Sparrow.
They I think they CGI plaster his face on top of him. It's definitely supposed to be him. Or I think they digitally de-aged him. I think is one of those.
Maybe, but my point is that I'm kind of surprised that they didn't take that and do a spin-off where it's young Jack Black and recast him.
Yeah, young Jack Sparrow. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, young Jack Sparrow
they have
rather.
a series
They
of
have a series of
books,
books.
which weren't terribly popular. Probably
But I'm
because no one thinks that character will work without Johnny Depp. That's probably why.
kind of surprised that. Well, yeah, whether or not, but I'm kind of surprised the executives didn't try.
I mean, the time to try would have been after the first one, the second one, when those movies were popular. Now, to do a Jack Sparrow thing without Johnny Depp, I just don't think they could. And I think these movies have proven that Jack Sparrow on his own, it doesn't do well.
Well, Jack Sparrow on his own, when he's Johnny Depp, doesn't do well. If he was played by someone else, we have no idea.
I mean, maybe I can't see it, but maybe
A young version of him before he goes crazy, before the dehydration of being on the sea affects his brain. Who knows? Who knows what he would have been like?
I mean,
But is it a bad sequel? No, I don't think it's a bad sequel.
ooh, I do. I know why? Because prior to you watching it, you forgot you watched it. Makes it a bad sequel. I think what's worse, Jordan, being bad or forgettable?
No, Justin. That makes it a bad movie. That's a completely different conversation.
I mean,
The conversation of is
fair.
it a good or decent resolution to a story that was begun in a previous movie? Yes. It resolves Will, and I know it's not really like they're not in it a lot, but it resolves Will and Elizabeth's story. It finishes it. It's done. Like they have a happy ending.
Fair enough.
They're together.
Fair enough. We got to move on though, because we're on a time crunch. So that's the end of the rapid fires, everybody.
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's time for half scenes. You're not gonna give
You
us
want me to go first?
You're not gonna give us the half scene song.
Oh, I just figured there wasn't time for that. Da-da-da.
Nobody heard that because it completely cut out. Anyway, Jordan, what's your first one?
Shrek Forever After.
Yes, the one with all the different Shreks. There's more than one Shrek. There's Chef Shrek. There's John Hamm Shrek.
So this was when we did a past show and attempted to become internet personalities. This was one which we
I've seen this movie so many times.
We tackled in the past. Insert here.
Do the roar.
And do the roar.
Do the roar.
The point that we tried to make at the time was that it was bad.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's bad, but much like I felt with the Pirates of the Caribbean one that I just discussed, don't make a fifth one.
Oh, in this case, nah, dog. I'm all in for a fifth one.
Don't make a fifth one. There's no need.
I'm like, do a fifth
This is
one and do it in the same animation style as modern DreamWorks movies. Make it like the kids are, make it like 10 years later and the kids are now like teenagers, and make it Shrek's got to deal with teenagers.
no.
I want
See,
to see
I
that
don't
movie.
want that.
I want that.
I want another Puss in Boots movie where Shrek and them show up.
I would also like
That's
that.
what that's what I want. I view Shrek and them now at this point as secondary characters. He's gone through his story.
I mean, that is pretty fair. But also, I
He's
want to see
gone
him deal
through.
with teenage ogres. I think it'd be
He's
funny.
gone with. Well, that's the thing to me. Like, if you're gonna make Shrek 5, I don't want it to be about Shrek. I want it to be about his kids. I want him to be there, but I don't want Shrek to be the main character.
I mean, I don't know.
Shrek is
To me, it's logical. To me,
Shrek.
Shrek's logical transformation is he becomes like sitcom, like animated sitcom dad, like
Shrek.
Homer
Shrek
Simpson
went
or a
through
Fred
his.
Flintstone.
Yeah, but Shrek went through his midlife crisis. I don't want to. I don't want to be a dad anymore in this movie.
Yeah, but I mean,
If we did that again, it just kind of undercuts this movie.
no, I mean, you make the next lesson of am I a good dad? Not will I be a good dad, but am I? They're too young in this for him to have been a dad. They're still just babies.
No, again, if I had it my way, it's a moot point. They're making a fifth
I'm
one,
making a
but
fifth one.
if I had it my way,
But I don't want them to do
no.
like they come into it, it's status quo and everyone looks the same and nobody's like progressed or the universe hasn't aged. That I don't want. If we're gonna do a fifth one, move the universe forward. Make the donkey children like adolescents so they all talk like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, no, I again, I wouldn't. But anyway, so I like Rumpelstiltskin in this. I like the portrayal that they give for him. There's a lot in this movie that I didn't appreciate the last time we watched this, which it made me laugh, and it's a fun romp.
I mean,
That's
my
kind of
favorite is
how I would
always gonna be
describe
like, did he just kill her in cold blood? More like lukewarm water.
it. Yeah. So
Uh,
I mean, what else is there really to say about
we're good
this?
at writing jokes, everybody. That was a joke I wrote.
It's Shrek.
No, you wrote
know?
that. You wrote that.
I think I wrote that.
And then it was running along, and the next thing I know, my donkey fell in your waffle hole. Is that a weird perverted sex act you just described?
I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, no, I sort of have realized over the years I like a good alternate reality story.
I'm a fan of an alternate. Not, but to be fair, people are falling out of favor with those. I'm like, oh, but those are always my favorite.
But I like those.
I like it. It's a Wonderful Life. What happens if I fucked up? If I wasn't around stories.
Yeah. I don't have a lot more to say about.
I wish Donkey was
but...
a bit more different. That's my one thing. Donkey's a bit too much like Donkey, but Donkey needs to be the character that he runs into first. I just wish he was like, make it where he doesn't talk, or he's like scared to talk, or he just kind of devolves into just kind of being Donkey. And I'm like, well, that's not.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
That's not fun. Because you got like you shat all over poor Puss in Boots and made him fat. So I'm like, come on, man, do something interesting with Donkey. Make it so he's like Puss in Boots now, or something. Make it so he's like a or something. I don't know.
I would have made it where, and I don't know. See, okay. First off, I wouldn't have made it so Puss in Boot is fat. I would have made it where him and Donkey are best friends now because Shrek was never born. And Puss in Boots rides Donkey around like a steed. And like instead of making Donkey like the chatterbox, like make him really serious.
That'd also be fun.
Like he was influenced by Puss in Boots, and so he's really serious now.
Have you heard the theory that in the regular timeline, Puss in Boots, although the end of the movie kind of contradicts this a little bit, but in the regular timeline, Puss in Boots killed all the ogres. That's why there's so many of them in the timeline where he's fat.
Huh. Never really thought about that, but that's an interesting take.
I know. I was like, huh.
He did work, and to be fair, in the second one, he did work as a bounty hunter. He was hired by the king, and he went after an ogre. So it's not unbelievable that that's true.
Just saying.
But that's all That's all I really have to say about Shrek Forever After.
My first one is another kind of a double whammy. Is Tron Legacy. Which not only am I going to be like, the question is for me for this one going to be, is this a bad sequel? But the question is it a, we constantly talk about the way too late sequel. Is this a way too late sequel?
Sorry, say that again?
For Tron Legacy, is it a way too
Tron
late
Legacy.
sequel?
Yes, to be fair, I almost argue it's not a sequel, it's a requel.
It's a requel, but even then, it's not. I mean, it does have the legacy characters. The legacy character does get killed technically, although not because he's coming back for the third one. But he theoretically gets killed.
The legacy character of Tron in that one isn't even Tron.
No, not till the end. He does turn back into Tron at the end.
Well, sort of. He's like for the user, but like you could argue that we don't know what happens to him. For all we know, he's just temporarily managed to escape control and then proceeds to, in the third one, turn back into Rinsler.
True. So this is gonna be a real compliment sandwich for me because I love this movie. I think the soundtrack is phenomenal. It's basically just a Daft Punk album. It's so good. The music is so good. It looks good. Like, it very much looks like they're in this computer world. All of the special effects still hold. Okay, that's not true. Most of the special effects still hold up. The acting, the performances are really good. The one special effect doesn't hold up. The de-aging one. Ooh, boy, it looks bad. It looks real bad.
Oh, yeah, the creepy Clue's face.
Yeah, it looks real bad. It looks real bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you fix this, I guess, other than like makeup, but man, it looks bad. It looks so bad. It moves weird. The performance is good though, because it's like you like you're so distracted by the bad face, you kind of forget that it's Jeff Bridges doing all the dialogue and all the voice work, and it's like the performance is like he's different. He's different from Flynn, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's very much a movie where you're like, oh, this is clearly what they saw when they thought this up in 1980, whatever, and they just didn't have the technology to do this, and now they do. That having been said, this world is complete nonsense. The system doesn't make any sense, and it's a remnant of an era where the internet was magic and could do anything. But like in the modern day, a system has to do something. Like what does it do? Does it just self-sustain? Like if you think of it, because okay, the thing about the first one is the first one was very clear that all of these characters are humanized versions of programs that exist in the computer that serve a function. So like Bit is like a search engine, for example, or I think Clue was like a search engine or something. In this movie, it doesn't. I'm constantly like, what do these programs do? Because a program has a function, and like all of the programs are like they try to be like they there's these ISOs which are extra special programs, but are programs, but aren't programs. But all the programs all operate with independent thought.
ISOs, as I understand what they're supposed to be, are supposed to be things that are not programs. They weren't programs. They came into being. They are independent life forms.
Right.
They are.
But when later on in the movie, when Flynn is looking at her programming, he's like, the son asks, "Oh, did you do this?" And he's like, "I did some of it, but others of it kind of." So it implies that it's just artificial intelligence that took on its own life. But like, still, the rest of the programs all act like humans. Like they all like the one in the beginning when he first gets there is afraid to go to the games. Like they exhibit fear. They're all complicated. They all have complicated emotions and wants. Like the one played by Martin Sheen like betrays what's his face. Like they're essentially human. So you're like, well, what do these? And then so I also watched Tron Uprising, which is a funny show because number one, they couldn't get the likeness rights to anybody, so nobody looks like how they're supposed to. But you see, like all the programs, they all work for Clue, like in like sort of a fascist kind of style dystopian government, but they all work a job and they all like do something, but it's not really made clear like in terms of this being a computer. Like if you think of this as being a computer outside in the real world, what do any of these programs. Like, okay, Tron's a security program. That much I get. Clearly, Clue is like a mass operating system program. But what are
System
they?
admin.
Yeah, system admin. So what are they like? Otherwise, like, what do they function in the computer?
Well, I think the soldiers and the warriors and stuff, they're probably like your antivirus.
I guess.
Where they're going off and destroying things. Um, the rest of them, maybe it's just supposed to represent like RAM and bits and bytes.
And my thing is like they're just too complex of like characters. Because like in Tron Uprising, the main character he's voiced by Elijah Wood, and the whole thing is it turns out that when Tron got attacked, when he helped Flynn escape, that he didn't actually die. He just went into hiding, or when he first becomes Rinsler, because it shows him he's got the Rinsler like outfit on, and he's got the helmet on, and like you could tell it's Tron because you recognize his voice, but he's like in disguise. And then he eventually takes off the helmet and he's revealed to be Tron. Because the whole thing with that show is the Elijah Wood character is going around like destroying like statues and stuff, and like just being like generally disruptive, starting a revolution. And he's pretending to be Tron. So Tron eventually trains him to become Tron.
Interesting.
And so Tron's not actually dead yet. So I don't know at what point in that show he goes from being Tron to Rinsler. I don't know when that happens. And they do say at the end that Tron, that Clue can't create programs, he can only repurpose them. So
yeah,
it's like,
they say that in the movie too.
Yeah, so it's like, so when programs come into being, yeah, it's just, the world is it's confusing and underexplained. And it's one of those things where I'm like, maybe there's a comic somewhere where they go into the details of how this universe like works. Also, I looked up, because it was driving me crazy, because like, oh, it's been many cycles. I looked up how long a cycle is. Because they say that time has passed. In fact, I'm gonna Google it because it was actually, I'm gonna quickly bring it up because it was actually really interesting. How time works on the grid. Hold on. A cycle, otherwise known as a Tron cycle, is a measurement of time used in the grid. So, according to Kevin Flynn, he mentions that a millicycle is about 8 hours. So that denotes that. Okay, hold on. So basically, one real world year equals 50 cycles on the grid, which means that Kevin Flynn was trapped in the grid for 1,000 years from his viewpoint.
No wonder he went all hippie.
Right. Yeah. So it means that Clue has been trying to confirm. Yeah, this would seem to be confirmed within the movie itself by Castor's line that Clue had been trying to obtain Kevin Flynn's identity disc for 1,000 cycles, using the 1 year equals 50 grid years equals 50 cycles correlation. One can extrapolate the times. Yeah, and then they've got a whole timetable here. So yeah, because that was driving me crazy. I'm like, how long is a cycle in regards to time in our universe? But anyway, to answer the question, yes, I think it's probably a bad sequel. But it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's bad sequel probably made by the point that not many people know it's a sequel. There's a lot of people who don't even know it's a sequel.
Word, yo. So that's all you have to say about that one?
That is it. That's all I have to say about Tron Legacy.
My second have seen is Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, which is a sequel to Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. So, in a time before Dragon Ball Super, there were two movies that came out, which were then later reappropriated and made into seasons of the TV show,
which are bad. They're the worst seasons of that show.
They are, but this was the second movie, sequel to Battle of Gods, where instead of having a threat, they had Frieza.
Yeah,
who was no threat.
Who is no threat. Yeah, there's no even more so than Dragon Ball regularly. Yeah, this movie has no stakes. Like, you're never once concerned that Frieza's gonna win or beat them, because even if you beat Goku, Vegeta's standing right there.
Well, especially once they say, yeah, Whis has the ability to wind back time for a certain amount of time, and it's like, okay, well then there's literally no threat.
That just screamed that somewhere in the writing process someone went, shit, How do we fix
Why
this?
why wouldn't Frieza just blow up the planet?
Yeah, and then because he did that before, and then okay, he's gonna blow up the planet. They're like, well, we can't just have him use the Dragon Balls, although Namek Dragon Balls, I suppose.
And so, well, here's okay. What I will say is, it is beautifully animated.
It is very pretty.
And it's fun to watch the fight scenes, even if I know that ultimately it means dick.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a good. I mean, compared to the show version, it's definitely like interesting looking.
But in terms of, is it a bad sequel?
I think so.
I would say yes, mostly because there's no stake. But then, is that a bad sequel or is that a bad movie?
It also introduces to a transformation that is completely unearned, and it just appears they've earned it off screen, and we like it's poorly explained. To this day, no one fully understands what Super Saiyan Blue is. The power scaling of it is awful. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
That
movie did a lot of bad shit for the franchise, in my opinion.
And I mean, there's also just I hate the Pilaf gang.
Not a fan.
I understand that's a continuation from the last one, but I hate them in this.
Akira Toriyama loves them.
Yeah, I hate them. But that's really all I have. I don't have. Maybe I should have picked something that I had more to say, but I just really wanted to talk about how Frieza was no threat.
He's no threat. Black
He's
Frieza.
No threat.
Is that all you have to say?
That's all I have to say.
So I forgot to mention on the previous one why I picked Tron Legacy, and ultimately why I picked this next one is when I was doing my research for this episode, I looked up a list of worst sequels, and on that list was Rocky 2 and Tron Legacy, and I'm like, Tron Legacy, okay, maybe, but Rocky 2 is one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, does anyone think Rocky 2 is a bad movie? So I was gonna do Rocky 2, but then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do the movie that people actually think is the worst Rocky movie, and that's Rocky 5. And yeah, man, Rocky 5 is not very good. Rocky 5, Adrian's Revenge is just a parade of misery. The whole thing of it. Number one, Rocky doesn't fight a single fight in it. Like, he doesn't box a match. He does one street fight at the very end, which isn't even really a boxing match. And that's kind of it. And it's otherwise just Rocky being sad and depressed the whole movie. Very basically, it's about how after the events of the fourth one, Rocky has been hit in the head so many times that he now has brain damage and can't fight ever again. And the kind of brain damage he has since been proven that it wouldn't have affected his career. He could have still gone on and continued to have a career. Like even Sylvester Stallone has come out and been like, yeah, no, he wouldn't have. They would have licensed him. So his wife convinces him to retire, and this evil manager guy who's based on Don King is trying to get him to do this match. And so they discover that he has his brain damage, and the guy's like, I can get you licensed in anywhere in the world, and he's like, no, and through like some weird misunderstanding, his accountant like gets power of attorney from him and invests all his money in like real estate and essentially causes him to go broke. So him and his family are now broke, and they're forced to move back into the old neighborhood he lived in the first one. And
this doesn't really sound like a Rocky movie.
And so he eventually meets a boxer played by a real life boxer. I learned Tommy Morrison. I didn't know that. He eventually died of AIDS due to AIDS, very tragically. But he shows up on Rocky's doorstep and is like, Rocky, please train. Wait, have you seen Rocky 5?
It's not sounding familiar.
I thought you had. But this guy shows up on Rocky's doorstep and is like, Rocky, you're like the greatest of all time. I've been watching you since I was like a kid. Train me, please. And so Rocky trains him, and him and Rocky become really close. And I forgot to mention also Rocky, or Sylvester Stallone's son, real life son, is in this movie playing Rocky's son. And so the whole thing is Rocky is training Tommy and becoming really focused on Tommy. And he's putting all of his energy into Tommy, and he's essentially ignoring Rocky Jr., his son, who is sort of falling into this like bad crowd or whatever. He's feeling ignored, and there's these kids, like they're bullies, but they're the kind of bullies who look like in real life they'd be bullied, like those kind of bullies.
Okay.
And like just like
Interesting.
absolute like anyway. So they're picking on Rocky's son because Rocky's son is this rich boy from like L.A. And so like they steal his coat or whatever. And so while Rocky is training Tommy, Rocky Jr. is training how to fight. And so Rocky Jr. ends up beating up these bullies. He gets into a fight with them and he beats them. And I can't remember at what point it happens, but at a certain point, Tommy starts to become resentful of Rocky, like he's constantly living in Rocky's shadow. So he leaves Rocky to go be with the evil promoter guy who's just trying to convince him to, like, he's basically whispering in his ear, devil on his shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a really funny scene where Rocky's son has kind of had enough of being ignored, and he's acting like it's Christmas, it's during Christmas, and he doesn't want to participate in Christmas, and he's like, and Rocky doesn't understand why. He's like, but we always do Christmas, we always spend time together. Why are you acting like this? And he's like, oh, now you notice me. Oh, now you see me. And he's like, oh, we're gonna get out. Let's get out of here, guys, because all his friends are there. He's like, let's get out of here, guys, and he storms off and he leaves. And I said as a joke, it's like, oh, we're gonna go smoke a cigarette, and they storm off. And then
No, Justin. At the time, they would have said, "We're gonna go smoke a fag."
And so no, Jordan, they're American. They say
No,
cigarette.
no, Justin. Rocky's son is, for whatever reason, even though his father is very American, his son is he's decided to pick up and pretend to have a British accent.
But so it's really funny. So there's a bit later on where he goes to look for him, and he finds them, and sure enough, they're smoking a cigarette. I burst out laughing. I was like, oh my god, he went up and he smoked his cigarette. So funny. And they want you to know that Rocky is really downtrodden and like really hard off because he starts smoking again, and that's supposed to be the visual shorthand. You're like, oh, Rocky's at his lowest lows. He's smoking a cigarette. He hasn't smoked a cigarette in like 10 years. But no, it's doing a lot of like, he walks around the town like wistfully, like he goes to like the gym and is like, oh, I remember the good old days. But he's young enough that it's not really working, and he's doing the like, oh, I want to have a legacy, I want to do this, and the entire it very much wants to be the finale to Rocky. That's my big thing with it. Is it very much wants to be the last one, because it ends. It's so funny because it ends with a street fight, which I keep mentioning, but it's not really a boxing match because Rocky, like clearly having learned his lesson fighting Hulk Hogan in the third one, is like doing like drops and like flipping him and like doing kicks. At one point he's doing like spinning kicks or whatever, and he's like kicking him, and he's not really boxing him because
he's a wrestler now.
Yeah, because the whole thing is the guy's like, oh, you need to beat Rocky in order to prove that you're better than him, and so they keep trying to goad Rocky into a fight. And until Rocky finally gives in and starts fighting him in the street. And it's like, yeah, this doesn't count. This isn't like the same thing. This is just an assault at this point. This isn't like a fight. You're just assaulting a retired guy. Like,
he did not consent to this.
Right. But you could tell that this was supposed to be the finale, because after I don't know how else to describe it. I'm hoping you'll get what I mean. But like, it gets to the end and he's like celebrating with his family that he's just beat up this guy in the street, and like he's embracing his family or whatever, and his son's like, I love you, Dad. I'm so sorry for being a prick this whole movie. And as it happens, it's playing like a jazzy saxophone version of the da da da, like a slow version that's like supposed to be like the big epic finale version, like the da da da.
The crescendo.
Yeah. Like the big, like epic sweeping, like this is supposed to be the end kind of. Yeah, and then they slipped in some sax in there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you could tell like this was supposed to be like the last one. So my thing with it is all of the stuff it wants to do, later movies did, but like more interestingly. So like the notion that he's downtrodden and he's stuck back home and he's wandering around town and he's all sad and whatever. They do that eventually in Rocky Balboa, but that movie he does a boxing match in the end, and that I like that movie.
And he's older, so it works better.
And it works better. And the same thing with like, they've done the he's a mentor figure and he's teaching a guy. They did that in Creed, and it's done so much more effectively and so much better in that. So like the question now is it a bad sequel? Yeah, kind of, just because he doesn't. It's not. I mean, your fifth time out. Who's he gonna box this time? I kind of feel like it's one of those ones where maybe he should have ended it with the fourth one.
That's fair.
If I'm talking contemporarily, I mean, like, I maybe would be like, now I'm like, no, because if not for that one, we don't get Rocky Balboa or Creed. And I like Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa is my second favorite Rocky movie. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. It's so hard. Of the modern ones, it's my favorite modern Rocky movie. But my favorite, I think, might always be either the fourth or the third one. I really like the fourth one. I must break you.
I must break you.
The first like 5 minutes of this movie is just literally watching that fight scene from the fourth one. I'm like, if I wanted to watch the fourth one, I'd watch the fourth one. That's it. That's it. That's all I have for.
So that's your last have seen?
That's my last have seen. Yeah.
All right. Well, then we will move on to the have not scenes.
This is where the show gets fun for me.
I don't know if this is perceived as bad. In fact, most people probably like this one. I watched Bad Boys 2.
So, okay, before you say it, my memory of this one, I said it last week when you talked about the first one, I'm going to reiterate it again, is that it is literally exactly the same movie as the first one. Is that true?
Basically the same, similar in a lot of ways. Something that I kind of became aware of as I was watching the second one, and this is more a reflection or a thought on the entire, or the two that I've seen franchise. Bad Boys as a franchise kind of just feels like if you took Jump Street and took it completely seriously.
That's interesting. I mean, to be fair, well, okay, you mean Jump Street the movie, right?
Yeah, the movie.
I mean, to be fair, the show is 100% serious, but I get your point.
Like that's kind of just what this makes me think of.
I don't disagree.
Where you have two partners who are trying to bust up a crime, and the only difference is in this one they're real cops.
And there's explosions.
And there's a lot of explosions. It's like, is it a bad sequel? I mean,
if you're just like, do the same thing but bigger.
Yeah, it's not really a sequel. It is insofar as the fact that like it's a continuation, I guess, but like they're kind of just doing the same issue again. He has an issue with Mike again. It's
the same movie.
The one partner, yeah, it goes through just a lot of the same beats. So if in terms of that, yeah, it's kind of a bad sequel.
Yeah, it's not. It's all I remember about it is I watched them both back to back, and I just remember halfway through the second one being like, "This is literally exactly the same movie." Like, I'm not exaggerating. It's the same movie.
I will say, I could tell. Like, I could tell that this wasn't Michael Bay's first movie.
Fair. It has a bit more expertise to it, a bit more polish. This one came out. I think that prior to this one, in between this one and the first one, I think he had done The Island, I think, and Armageddon. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure, and I'm too lazy to look it up.
Yeah, I know he had done a couple more movies because I think this one came out 2000.
This came out in 2003.
I was gonna say 2003. I was either gonna say 2003 or 2005, but 2005 felt too late.
So, like in that regard, it feels like. It feels like he went back to the drawing board with his first movie and was like, I can do it again, but better.
But like slightly stronger, better.
Faster. So in that regard, it's better, but I maintain I think it's a bad sequel, and that's kind of all I have to say about that one.
Fair enough. That's it? That's all you got?
That's all I got for that.
Jaws the Revenge. Okay, I'm gonna be straight with you, Jordan. We're coming up on 2:00, and like, not that I'm gonna push through this, but just a behind the scenes peek behind the curtain. Me and Jordan are traveling a distance to go watch Dragon Ball Daima tonight, so we're kind of on a time crunch. And I know I'm wasting time saying this, but I feel confident we can get this done before 2:00. But then
That's
again,
fair.
I still have to talk about Joker 2 doing a poo. My God, Joker 2 doing a poo.
I'll try and be brief with Beetlejuice.
Even if it's like 10 after 2 and we're out of here by like quarter after 2.
Anyways,
Anyway, so
we're wasting time.
Jordan, here's my question for you. When you hear the title Jaws: The Revenge, I want you to guess right now. I want you to take a crack. What do you think this movie's about?
I mean, I would guess that it's about the shark Jaws somehow survived, and he's back for revenge.
Having survived the last one, he's back for bloody revenge.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
that's what I by the title name. That's what I would guess. By your reaction, I'm guessing that that's not what happened.
Kind of. Okay.
Is it the same shark from the first one?
No.
Then it's not revenge. They didn't wrong this shark.
It's also not the shark from the second or third one either. It's a new shark. It's a brand new shark. As near as I can tell,
then it's not revenge. It's just the shark being pissed.
As near as I can tell, every one of these movies has a different shark. They all seem to be about basically the main cop from the first one, the main guy, his family. So this one is now I guess it ignores the plot of the third one, which I kind of briefly read about. This is the fourth one, by the way. I thought it was, for most of this movie, I thought it was the third one. Turns out it's the fourth one. But it's about the oldest son of the guy from the first one, the widow of the husband, the guy from the first one. Her son gets killed by a shark, and rips off his arm in a sequence that is surprisingly bloody. Like he's just like gushing blood. He's like screaming, and I'm just like, man, I don't remember Jaws being this gory. And he gets killed, and so it makes the wife, the mom, think that the shark is out for bloody revenge, and so her older son is a marine biologist in the Bahamas. And she demands that he stop his work, and he's like, no, but convinces her to come back to the Bahamas with them. And he's studying something. It's never really made clear what. And they encounter the shark. The shark just happens to show up. And great whites don't show up in the Bahamas. Like, they just don't go there. So they're like, we need to study this. And yeah, pretty much from there.
And then bad shit happens.
Yeah, pretty much from there, the shark just kills people. Michael Caine is in this movie for some reason. He's a pilot. He's a main love interest of the mother. And the whole thing is like the mother can like psychically see the shark killing people. So at one point she's like staring off in the distance, and she's having this flashback to like events she wasn't there for. And it's never explained how the shark just showed up from Amityville, which is where they're from, how it showed up in the Bahamas, why it's going for revenge, how it knew to get there. At one point, the shark growls like a lion.
I don't think sharks do that.
It is nonsensical garbage. The puppet for the shark, you can see the fact that it's made out of felt. Like, it doesn't even look. Yeah, you could see the fabric of the felt in the water coming off of the stupid shark. Like, it doesn't look real. The acting is not very good. Apparently, there's the novelization, which is based off of the original script, which cut out a bunch of stuff. And apparently the book implies that the shark is acting under the influence of a vengeful voodoo witch doctor, and that the shark's apparent revenge, because apparently everything in the 80s needed to do this, but apparently the shark's apparent revenge has magical...
Hold on. Was it a demon? Was it a magical demon or a ghost or a spirit?
It wasn't a demon or a spirit. but it was definitely magic. Apparently, it says that the shark's revenge has magical implications. It's taken from earlier drafts of the screenplay. The shark is directed by a voodoo curse laid by Papa Jacques, a Haitian witch doctor. The revenge.
Of course it was.
Film scholar IQ Hunter explains that the revenge of the title is therefore Papa Jacques and not the sharks, which entirely changes the story's meaning. But like also the movie never explains why the shark is out for revenge. It is seemingly not the shark from the first movie. Like, but yeah, it seems that originally it was going to be that there was this voodoo curse on the family, which is why the shark constantly goes for the family.
That sounds really dumb.
And therefore, Jordan,
it's a bad sequel.
It's a bad sequel. It's a very bad sequel. It was nonsense. Like the entire time I was watching it, all I could think about was like, man, the first Jaws movie is like one of Steven Spielberg's best movies. Like this is it. Wait, he didn't do this, did he? Oh, that's the book. I don't want the book. Ah, shit. He didn't do it.
How far the mighty have fallen.
Nope, he did not do this. He did not do this. He was not involved in this.
Well, that's good.
Wow, he didn't even produce it.
He gets to keep his reputation then.
He didn't write the first one. Anyway, yeah, so yeah. It was just one of those things where I'm like, man, I remember the first Jaws being a good movie. This is a very bad movie. And then
good movie for humans, bad movies for sharks.
That's it, because I'm going to need a bunch of time for Joker 2. Because I'm assuming you want to hear about Joker 2, Jordan.
I mean, I think we all do. But before we do that, I did Beetlejuice.
The one thing about that movie is it just feels unnecessary. That feels like okay. No, I'm gonna ask you questions about it because I actually want to see this movie. So is it gives me way too late sequel vibes.
If I had one major complaint, that would definitely be it.
It feels way too late.
Especially because in the original, Winona Ryder is like 15, and then you get to this one, and she's like 50.
And also, it seems to answer questions I never asked. Like I saw the clip where they explained Beetlejuice's backstory, and I'm just like, I think I mentioned it when you did Beetlejuice last time, and I was like, I don't need his backstory. I have no interest in his backstory.
On the one hand, yes. On the other hand, he does it while like speaking like while doing like this. I believe it's Italian. That was it. Like over top of it, and it's like played for comedy. So it's like on the one hand, no, I didn't really need it, but on the other hand, it doesn't not work for me.
Fair enough. I think this one we can go shorter only because I actually do want to watch this movie. But yeah, is it bad? It looks bad to me. It looks bad. But I don't like the first one, so
it's gonna be I think that's ultimately gonna be the thing. Is it's gonna depend on how much you like the first one. I didn't dislike the first one, so it's like it's kind of fun to see more of this world. But by that same token, I wasn't asking for this. I didn't really need this. It doesn't really feel necessary.
Would you have preferred that Beetlejuice went to the Bahamas instead?
Sure.
That's a test and you failed. You don't get the reference. I think it was the Bahamas. Shit. Now I'm doubting if I got. Now I'm wondering if I got the reference wrong. This was in development hell for years, and the name of the sequel was maybe it was Hawaiian. No, sorry, maybe it was Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Let's see if that shows up here at all.
I believe is what it was called. They've been batting around this thing for like fucking decades, and they've never managed to get it going for some reason. This movie desperately like it comes across as though
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Hawaiian, not the Bahamas.
Or in early 1991.
Yep. Yeah. No idea what that would have been.
Which I don't know what it would have been about, but the time frame would have been better.
They also, at one point, they were going to do one. It wasn't going to involve Michael Keaton. Like, they were going to do a sequel. This wasn't going to involve Michael Keaton.
Yeah, like that's okay. So that's one thing that I'll say. Compliment sandwich here. While I think certain characters didn't age well, Michael Keaton is still nailing it.
Absolutely.
If you liked what he did in Beetlejuice in the first one, you're really just getting more of that in this one, and it's kind of impressive it's kind of impressive how he just steps right back into that role.
I will say that, yeah, the trailers, I was like, he's the thing that makes me want to watch this. I otherwise have no interest in this, but he's the thing that makes me want to watch this. But it gives me the, like, people have been shitting on Tim Burton, he's going back to the well vibes, and I'm like, I never respect that.
Yeah, I could see why you would say that. It's, I guess my thing is it bad or is it good? It's fine for what it is.
Yeah, fair
Like, it's
enough.
fine. That's kind of all I have to say.
Yeah, I still want to watch it. Okay, so finally, the whole, well, you're done? That's it?
I said that's all I have to
The
say.
final movie of the week, folks. The thing that started this whole process, Joker 2, Folia doing a poo. And the question was, is Joker 2 doing a poo? It is. It's doing a poo. It's bad. It's real bad.
It's
so let's do this. Let's do this. Jordan, what do you want to know about Joker 2? Let's
is
start
he
there.
actually the Joker?
No, he's not.
Does the Joker actually show up?
No, he does not. Not really.
Is that actually Harley Quinn?
Yes. It absolutely is. Yes, very much so. It is. I think we had a theory where it was going to turn out she was all in his head. So this, one of the things I hate about this movie is it tries to be like Harley Quinn's the bad guy, actually, because like, so he meets her early on in Arkham. Well, they don't say it's Arkham, but it's like a prison mental institution.
It's Arkham.
It's weird because it's presented like the part that, well, Harley Quinn is in B Ward, which is funny. Burt Ward, Robin.
Oh,
Robin's name is Burt Ward. Batman, Adam West Batman, Burt Ward. B Ward. I thought that was a funny reference, but yeah, he seems to be like this. They don't call it Arkham, but it is Arkham. But it seems to be separated into like two sections, like the section with like criminals, and then the section for like mental patients. Because Harley Quinn is in the section with mental patients. But he initially meets her, and she feeds him this story about how her name is Lee, and how her dad killed himself, and her mom. Something about how her mom is awful and her dad killed herself for some tragic backstory. And they get into trouble. He basically gets put into this. The whole thing early on is he has this relationship with these abusive guards who treat him like shit, but treat him to privileges when he amuses them, basically. And one of them gets him put in this music class where he meets Harley Quinn. And they get into trouble later on where she tells him that she's being essentially sent home or discharged because they can't be together because they're... And it turns out that she actually checked herself in, and that she's actually this rich girl whose dad and mom are still alive and are good people, and that she studied psychiatry, and her name is Harley Quinn, Harleen Quinzel. So she very much is Harley Quinn. But the whole movie is trying to be like, oh, because the whole thing is she's not into Arthur. She's only into the Joker. So at the end of the movie, she leaves him because she's like, you're just Arthur. You're not the Joker. Because he goes through this whole thing where he... Okay. I have to talk about this scene. Again, we don't do trigger warnings, but I don't like sexual violence. So there's a scene. Man, this movie's a lot. But basically, this movie is two movies. It's like this weird, not musical with musical numbers, and it's also this court drama. So it's sort of about the fallout of what he's done. So it's like scenes of him in this courtroom. Essentially, his lawyer is trying to convince the jury that the Joker is like a split personality. And the question is like, did Arthur do it? Was he aware? Like, did he know what he was doing? Whatever. And it hits a point where he like shows up in the courtroom as the Joker, and he starts insulting all of these guards or whatever. And so when he goes back to Arkham after the court date, they like assault him.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, and like, you know, the
we don't need to go into the details.
Yeah. In the non-consensual way. But it's not made exceptionally clear as to whether or not that happened. Like, it's implied, like you see him come back and he's not wearing pants and he's like in the fetal position. but they don't actually really show it or say it. So it could be a case of like they just beat him up, like friends of the show, Virus Fox and Jake, when they talked about it on their podcast, Toon Talk. I think it was Jake. One of them said that they didn't see how that it was that kind of scene, and having now seen it, I could see how it was. But the movie sort of implies that they assaulted the Joker out of him, because he goes to court after it happens, and is basically like, I'm not the Joker. There is no Joker. There never was any Joker. I'm just Arthur. And then the like he gets, because this whole movie is trying to basically be like, oh. Like the last movie, you know how like they was trying to be like, oh, him being a serial killer or whatever is cool or whatever. This one wants to be like, oh no, it's not cool, and he's just a sad loser. And so it ends kind of with him getting like freed, basically. All these Joker protesters like break into the courthouse and like help him escape. And they have him in the car, and they're like saying like, oh my God, you're my hero, whatever. We love you. And like he suddenly has this realization he doesn't want to be this. And like he escapes the car, and there's literally a scene of them like chasing after him, be like, no, Joker, come back, Joker, we love you, Joker, as he's literally running away from it. And
so it's like this real meta commentary.
Yeah, basically. On how like the last movie, he wasn't good or whatever. And then yeah, the movie ends with he's about to go, it's implied that he's about to go see Harley Quinn again, or someone, and as he's about to go out, a random inmate comes out and is like, hey, can I tell you a joke? And he's like, okay, yeah, I guess. He's like, he tells this joke where he's basically like, oh, if a psychopath runs into a former clown that he loved, when, I'm gonna fuck this up, but he runs into a former performing clown that he loved when he was a kid, and he says to him, oh, I wouldn't expect to see you here. He's like, yeah. He's like, can I buy you? Can I get you something to help you out? And he's like, oh, you as long as you're paying, you can buy me whatever you want. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, whatever you deserve. And then he stabs him to death and shanks him, and then he dies. And then the inmate like carves a smile into his face and like laughs, and that's how the movie ends.
Movie sounds really bad.
Implying that guy, I guess, is supposed to be the actual Joker. I don't know. It's really unclear. But also, okay, so in the midst of all that, there's these, for lack of a better word, musical numbers that aren't really, they're not really like musical numbers in a musical. They're more like just like music videos of like him as the Joker, like singing songs with Harley Quinn. Like there's this one, and they all look cool, and they're all staged interestingly. And I'm like, if this were a movie where it was like Harley Quinn and Joker were like on a rampage, but it was also a musical, it would be a fun movie. Like there's one bit where it's like he's in like the court, like the courtroom or whatever, and he's singing this song, and he's walking around the courtroom like killing guys as he's singing this like big happy musical number. And I'm like, that would be a fun movie. Like, where it's like a musical with starring Harley Quinn and Joker. Like, that would be a fun movie. But it's, like, smushed in between this boring courtroom drama shit. And, like, none of the musical numbers are very interesting or, like, very good. And all they really do is, like, it's hard to... Like, every time a musical number would start, I'd be like, oh God, especially towards the end, because this movie's almost 2.5 hours long. By the end of it, you're like, dear God, no, please stop. No, God, no, not another one. Dear Christ, please stop. No, I'm begging you. Like, and they just go on. Like, it's so much more of like, remember the bits from the first one where he's like in his underwear, like dancing as his hair flicks about?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of that.
So it's bad.
Yeah, where it's like there's so many scenes where it's like, oh my God, this movie could be like 30 minutes shorter and probably would be better. Like, I'm not gonna be like one of those people where it's like it's bad because it exists. Because it exists, we have to deal with it. But it's bad because it's like, yeah, it can't decide what it wants to be. It's afraid to be an actual musical, but it's also not interesting enough to be a courtroom drama. And a lot of the stuff it tries to say about Arthur contradicts the first movie, like in a way that's just not. And also like, they're trying to argue that there's the point where they bring in the little guy from the first movie who was there when he killed the one guy, and he's like, yeah, you traumatized me for life. I'm constantly scared. And he's like, yeah, but I let you go. I didn't kill you. Like I like very specifically let you go. So you have no reason to be afraid. But they never say that. It's just like not good. It was just boring, not very interesting. A lot of weird cigarette acting in this one and the first one. I also watched the first one to remind myself. A lot of like really bizarre, like long sequences of them smoking at each other. And yeah.
So would you say they did a poo?
They did a poo. They absolutely did a poo. I will say, when I was watching it, I was like, this movie would have been better. Not that I regretted not having watched it in theaters, because I don't. I know I regret having not watched this in theaters. But I was like, this movie would have been far more fun if it was me and you watching this, making fun of it. It's that kind of movie. Where it's like there would have been a lot of me and you turning to each other, being like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like it's like
what am I on?
Like no joke, the movie opens with like a 3-minute animated short of Joaquin Phoenix doing basically the end of the first movie, or not the end of the first movie, but the bit where he kills Murray. It's super weird, it's super surreal, and it's just like, yeah, it's very bizarre. Yeah, Justin doesn't love sexual assault. That also kind of it's a bad sequel. It's a bad sequel.
I understand.
I was trying to stutter around that because I had one more point I wanted to make. The performances are okay. Like walking. Oh, that was it. The funniest moment for me in this movie was about midway through, when the entire time for like an hour of it, I was like, oh, it was about an hour and 6 minutes in. I was like, oh, Joaquin Phoenix is a good singer. Like, he's a surprisingly good singer. He's a really good singer. Like, like some of these songs sound really good. He has one song which is like, I like the performance of it. And like in a better movie, this would be a lot of these numbers are like, they're good. And like his performance in them is really interesting, but it's in a bad movie. And I wish it were if this were in a dedicated musical that was actually good, it would be a good performance. But anyway, the funniest moment for me was midway when I realized that Joaquin Phoenix was in Walk the Line and he was nominated for an Oscar for playing Johnny Cash.
And now he's the Joker. And
I was like, oh yeah, of course he's a good singer. He played Grammy nominated Johnny Cash. Duh. Anyway, it was doing a poo. It was very much doing a poo.
It did a poo.
It absolutely did it. Insert fart noise.
But on the whole, I think that, a fair amount of the movies that we picked this week did not do a poo.
No, I feel like it was a fairly even split. Like, yes, there were some bad sequels, but also, yes, there were some good ones. Not good ones, but tolerable ones. I don't think any of these were good. No, that's not true.
Fun ones.
The only one of these I think I maybe qualify as a good movie is maybe Tron Legacy. I think the rest of them were bad movies.
Yeah. There's Shrek 4, I think, is a passable.
Yeah. So with that, Jordan, that's it. That's it for bad sequels. Jordan, it's time to set up. It's time to set up for next week. And Jordan, for next week, I mean, we've already teased it, but Jordan, I'm just gonna do it this way. Jordan, na 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 bet. Okay. Let's do this again. I'll do the na na na's. You do the na 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 na.
Batman.
There we go. That was much better.
Batman. It's time for Batman.
So next week, our good friend Jake of he does way too many podcasts to name them all. Of the Arte Media Pantheon.
There we are. We nailed it.
We nailed it. Jake of the Arte Media Pantheon, and my captain on the Final Frontier, Sundays at 5:00 Pacific Standard Time, will be here. Theoretically, he says he's going to be here, but he will be here to talk Batman and Batman adjacent projects, because I want to talk about the Penguin, and I want to complain about that. But it will be Batman. I will be watching Batman versus Superman, and he will attempt to convince me that it's a good movie. Good luck, Jake. That won't happen. That will be next week. So look forward to that coming next week. Batman. Until then, me and Jordan are off to go watch Dragon Ball Daima in theaters. The dub. Suck it, capitalism. Have a good week, everybody.